Plat Chat Overwatch, episode 204. We're back. We've been feasting during the Thanksgiving week. At least I have. We got Jaws. We got AVRL. Custa's talking about 2018 Overwatch. Avast. Not sure.
Look at him go.
Not sure. He's doing, real life work. Actual serious work. So, we...
You know when they brought out those aliens, by the way? Didn't you just want to fucking fucking crush, see if you could crush it with your bare hands? You know what I mean? Just to see if it would turn into like chalk or something, or to see if it was actually cake the whole time. You know?
I'm gonna be real. You will not be the human ambassador for the aliens. Just after saying that, you
I
will
should
not represent humanity.
Oh, AVRL, actually, have you seen Arrival?
The movie, yeah.
Yes, I watched that the other day.
UFO guys on.
Dude, it goes
We're just
crazy.
talking about movies now. Come on.
It's a film. It's a film. Arrival actually goes hard. I was a bit suspect to start off because I was like, it's Peggy 13. This is gonna suck. But no,
Peggy 13.
It's actually pretty good.
You only watch alien movies that have explosions and dinosaurs and shit.
Well, I was just
no
like,
violence,
if it's Peggy 13, is there going to be people dying? The aliens going to be killing people? But I was like, oh no, okay, actually, this is a cool storyline.
Are you saying there's not even an alien sex scene? Like, what a waste of time.
What a waste of time. I know, exactly. Give me at least like an R-rated film or an 18 plus if you're in the UK. Give me an 18 plus alien film where they're just banging.
Where they're just banging. Jesus. Again,
what's wrong with that?
This is why you are not in charge of the human delegate for diplomacy.
I would not be sent to the Avatar planet.
Over?
I would not be sent to the Avatar planet. I cannot be trusted.
Okay.
You are not getting the Avatar scene, no.
Yeah.
Someone clip that. Out. Anyway, that was good. What have you guys been up to the past week? Jaws, you been playing some DayZ or something?
I've had the most insane time on DayZ. The most amount of super effective psychic damage delivered by Hypoc and Pansy as they stalked me, Bren, Josh, and Scott for days and role-played as Jessica and Jackson, two like weirdly British, like RPer people, RPing people, sorry. And they stalked us for 2 days. Commit like psychological warfare, and we thought fucking Jessica was in the fucking walls. She was a demon, and we were so scared of her we didn't want to take her on 1v4. And then Hypoc eventually revealed to all of us that Jackson wasn't real, neither was Jessica, and then he shot himself, and it was crazy.
He shot himself?
Yeah, you can shoot yourself in DayZ. So yeah, and it was ridiculous. We thought they were just like role-playing cannibal demon people. Yeah, we were terrified. And and Jessica was stalking us. Here we go.
Oh, here it is.
Here's the clip. Jessica reveals the secret.
I don't even know where I am. Can you guys keep a secret?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, what's the secret?
Uh-oh. What's going on, guys?
Gonna grenade us.
Uh-oh, what is a secret?
Is not real.
What?
What the fuck? Who just said Jackson is not real? Who the... Was that Hypoc's voice?
What?
There's no way. No! No, don't do it.
What?
Bye, friend.
No!
Who the fuck is this?
No! Oh my god! Oh my god!
What the fuck was that?
What the fuck was that? Was that Hypoc?
Was that Hypoc the whole time?
The whole time!
There's no way.
Instantly starts There's looting. no way that was Hypoc the whole time.
There's just simply no way that was Hypoc the whole time.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
There's no way.
Wait, I watched Open Josh's stream. Wait.
That was Hypoc. Insane. So, because it originally started out with me, Bren, and Josh going over to like the big starter city on the starter island. Obviously, there's probably not DayZ heads in the chat, but there's like a bigger starter island, then you head south, and there's like bigger, more military stuff. And me, Bren, and Josh ran into them. And they were like round of fire, and we were like really sussy. And then Jessica, obviously, who was Hypoc, started speaking in this weird like female, but it's like a weird twangy British accent. I'm like, this is fucking weird. Then they started role playing, like it was like, oh, Jessica, don't, they're scary people and all this kind of shit. And then a guy like this random comes in, they shoot him, and me and Brennan are like, we got to get the fuck out of here, and we like run away. And obviously over the next few days they just end up stalking us, and that was the grand reveal. The grand finale was
grand reveal.
them revealing that they weren't real the whole time. So yeah, 2 days, 2 play sessions worth of pure psychic damage. Yeah, Jessica was never real. True. It's one of the most insane Twitch moments of all time, I think, for all of us. Jesse. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. And like I said, we were too scared to kill her because we thought she was a demon.
Yeah. I think we all have a little bit of DayZ in us. Like we've all been there, you know. We've all dabbled with DayZ. So
Right.
is that still
I've actually
ongoing?
never played DayZ.
Or are you pivoting?
Well, Bren
What's
is
the
like
Stream
away
Crew
now.
game of the week?
Nah, Bren's away now, so I'm not sure. I want to get back to it. When Bren gets back, I think we'll obviously all start again. But yeah, DayZ is just a trip, man. Just an absolute fucking trip. It's a good time. It's
Isn't he,
frustrating,
like
but it's a good
gone
time.
for like a long time? Isn't he like a bit of a nomad?
Yeah, he's probably gone for a few weeks. Yeah, sadly. But I think he'll have internet. Well, he'll play on Alice's PC when he visits her in Korea. So
True.
yeah, hopefully we can play some more DayZ.
Yeah. Damn, I want to
time.
go to Korea. Yeah. Good time. Good time. Avril, what about you? I don't know why I'm stalling, but
I eating Macca's, lifting.
off season, baby. Off season.
And just waiting for flash shops finally to get to watch some flash shops. I should have tuned into a little bit more Overwatch this week, but I just guess I haven't. I don't know. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the good stuff, you know? Being patient.
Yeah, I mean, I was away for a week doing Thanksgiving stuff, just chilling, not doing anything. So, yeah, it's peak off season, guys. It's peak off season. I don't know. Yeah, so we have a few things.
I did do something. You know, I'm going to preface the sponsor read a little bit later on, but yeah, I did a bit of manscaping. I don't know if that's I don't know.
This episode,
There you go.
it's brought to you by Manscaped.
God, what a segue! There it is.
Yeah, they had their Black Friday sale this past week, but don't feel like you've missed out, okay? Because they have the holiday sale going. They have the holiday sale going. So don't feel like you missed out. There's still opportunities to cop Manscaped products with a 20% off entire website plus free shipping holiday sale. Use code PLATCHAT for 20% off plus free shipping. Like you can get this package right here. Or as they would put it, it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's a ball trimmer sent from space. Gentlemen, our friends over at Manscaped have been working night and day to bring you a below-the-waist grooming experience like none other with their brand new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0. We're talking about the next-generation trimmer with interchangeable blade heads for whatever shave your mind can imagine. Whatever shave your mind can imagine. Upgrade your grooming game to the Ultrasphere this year by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with code PLATCHAT. High tech for low places. Manscaped.
I like this video.
What's the deal with
I like it's listed as a tutorial, and I'm wondering if he just gets naked by the end of it and just starts shaving. You know?
Wow, you are horny this morning, Joel.
What? I'm just saying. It said tutorial.
He's been thinking about Jessica. I'm still trying to figure out who that is.
There you go.
Man,
We know who Jessica is. Jessica's fucking hypog. Pansy was Jackson the whole time.
It's fine, man. You're into what you're into. I find the whole these sale holidays. As Black Friday's not a holiday. You have Black Friday, you have Cyber Monday, you have all these different sales coming up. You have Titty Tuesday, Wonky Wednesday, Titty Thursday again,
Titty Tuesday,
Freaky Friday.
What
is
and
happening?
then I'm trying to peel the jaws because I know he's horny this morning. So
Okay.
I know he'd probably purchase on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you got 2 weeks out of this.
Do I gotta put on the
2 days out of 7.
explicit filter on this episode? Jesus.
No.
We're just trying to get trying to get more clickbaity to catch up with other podcasts here. We're like, what can we come up with? You know, what can we?
I'm not that desperate. I'm not that desperate, Avril. But
Horniness ruined the Overwatch League. There you go.
That is the title.
Well, if you're feeling horny this morning, like Jaws, like Avril, Manscaped is your friend. Make sure to
I'm
get
trying to
some of
peel
their
the
products
jaws.
for a
I'm
better
feeding his demon.
overall. Look, we all have some demons, okay? We all have some demons. But yeah, every man knows how scared it can get when close. Never mind. I'll mess it up. Manscaped, we love you. We love you, Manscaped.
Use code PLATCHAT 20% off. There you go.
Code PLATCHAT for 20% off free shipping. I've had
go.
enough. I've had enough of this very friendly guy. There you go, shaving himself on
I
our.
was going crazy with that.
Wait, what was the
episode.
thing, that object he shaved right before going back to his own skin?
I think it was a balloon.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it couldn't
Okay.
have been. It must have been.
It was a very fleshy colored balloon.
If it was a balloon, it's really impressive. If you get there, you go.
That is a balloon. Yeah, there you go. Just a balloon filled up with something like liquid,
Yeah.
probably.
Two
Yeah.
balloons filled up with.
There you
yeah,
go,
there it
it's-
is.
it's two
there it
balloons.
is. Mm-hmm.
Two very golden balloons.
Yeah.
This is going to get demonetized. It's a balloon, YouTube.
Look,
please.
I'm fine. I'm fine getting demonetized for Manscaped content because Manscaped is the biggest supporter of the show,
Sure.
and without them, I don't know what Plat Chat would look like.
See,
Okay,
that's the thing,
Manscaped
right?
is like is what keeping the Overwatch scene alive single-handedly right now. Is Manscaped, so they're balling out of control. We love Manscaped. I'll get demonetized for Manscaped.
It's the paradox, isn't it? Because we'll get demonetized, but then Manscaped remonetizes us after we get demonetized. So it balances out.
It does. Thank you,
Yeah,
Manscaped.
there you go.
We
Thank you,
appreciate
Manscaped. Appreciate you. So, as people can tell by the title and the thumbnail, Rollock ruined the Overwatch League. We don't actually think that Rollock ruined the Overwatch League. We
Like,
just
does
try
anyone
to
think
lure
that?
you in. If you
Does
hear
anyone
this
actually
right
think
now
that?
and you were lured in by the thumbnail and the title, it worked, okay? If you've been interacting in the comment section, it worked, okay? It's just proof of concept. We just tried to replicate what the Uncoachable guys did earlier this week. When they released a podcast episode titled Koreans Ruined the Overwatch League. And we just wanted to try it out. We just wanted to try it out here on Plat Chat. We're starving in the offseason. We're depressed. We need engagement.
You say that like we've never clickbaited before. But like I'm pretty sure like recently we've clickbaited people.
Yeah,
so,
we clickbait quite frequently, actually.
yeah.
I'm not in the sense of this
Yeah,
regard.
I mean, you're saying that we don't, but we do a lot. Actually.
Yeah, I'm one of the biggest offenders of clickbait in the Overwatch esports scene. Not Overwatch overall, because in Overwatch content you have a hell of a lot of clickbait, but in the esports
Insane
scene,
clickbait.
yeah,
Just in gaming, think. I don't think it's just
I'm guilty.
just for Overwatch, but in gaming in general, the amount of clickbait is crazy.
Yeah, but I guess I wanted to get your guys' take on this week's kind of like big topic in the Overwatch esports scene, which was this Uncoachable episode that released, of course. And you know, they got a great podcast going. They talk about a lot of stuff, you know, with a lot of experience coaching for Overwatch League teams, and they have a lot of experience that we don't have on this podcast. So obviously, they offer a really important, unique perspective that is great insight. So we appreciate them. But the big takeaway was that Gator was a guest on this episode with Commander X, Christopher and Hunter, and they talked a lot about Gator's experience coaching Atlanta Reign, which has a lot of, you know, big personalities and have a lot of thoughts on things and want things to be a certain way. And then they kind of like developed into the Korean work ethic in general and their team chemistry and like what they provide in terms of personality. So it went into a bad place, and you know, some of the worst parts about the quote unquote Korean work ethic. But did you guys listen to this episode at all?
Yeah.
I know you listened to it, AVRL.
Yeah.
What was your takeaways?
First of all, I want to say that we here at Plat Chat LLC are shameless about stealing content from other podcasts. No, but look, full respect to them, that was a great topic this week. I think it's worth discussing, and I wanted to weigh in. I will be. I'll say I'm responsible here. This is a topic that I think is really, really interesting. And to summarize what they talked about, not that you're just going to come here and listen to the summary and not watch theirs. If you want to dive into, anyone watching that wants to like listen a little bit deeper so that we're not misquoting.
Yeah, it's like getting a driver's license. To complete the test on having an opinion on this topic, you need to watch the episode first.
I don't want to misquote Gator, so I'm going to paraphrase a lot when talking about some of the stuff he said. But it essentially boils down to the fact that, you know, talking about the overall season between Team USA and then Atlanta Reign, going into detail about Korean work ethic and the fact that it's very interesting that, yes, the work ethic between the Korean players and the Western players are very different in terms of the fact that the Koreans are working a lot harder on average, but the team atmospheres are generally worse on the Korean teams and the Korean dominated teams. According to not just Gator, but I think the other coaches kind of weigh in on that, and even Christopher, who had time in the Fusion on a mixed team, he was basically agreed on that and decided for multiple seasons on the London Spitfire did not pick up Korean players despite having that option available. So it's a very interesting way up, because it's like, do you want a good team culture, or do you want a quote unquote more skilled team? And it's not as cut and dry, it's not as black and white as that. Like, obviously you look at Shock 2019, 2020, right? They made it work, and Krusty made it work with a perfect balance where, you know, neither side tried to like murder the other one. This would actually be a very interesting episode to have Scott on, because of the whole Valiant 2019 situation. But that's a perfect example, right? Of like, you know, the mix didn't work out that year for the team. They had a lot of issues. So the whole, you know, Korean players and Western players not mixing well on team together, is an interesting thing that has happened on numerous teams. And Gator went into detail about the fact that Hawk never got integrated on the team, and in hindsight, it probably would have been better for Hawk to play more and for Hawk to play the playoffs as well. But the team was especially from the Korean player standpoint, they were all in on Donghack, and I think the pressure got to the kids, so it didn't work out for the team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough because, you know, it's obviously clickbait, and, you know, it worked because we're talking about it now and whatnot. But I think part of the reason why some mixed rosters worked as well, and obviously I haven't coached a team and I haven't been part of an Overwatch League team, so I can't speak to that much detail. But Avril just went. That was all he had to say. Goodbye, Avril.
Bro's left.
Yeah, that's
2-man
all he wanted to
podcast.
say.
Let's go.
He had McDonald's to wake up. He went on the website for 5 minutes, and now he's out, going to bed. No, but, you know, also, like, there are a lot of Korean players who, you know, are really fun to play with, and probably do provide to that great team environment, for example. So in San Francisco Shock, for example, when they were dominant 2019, 2020, you know, they probably had a few figures who, you know, really vibed with the Western players, for example, and contributed to that team environment, right? So I don't think that just because, like, good team environment players, like, they don't solve everything. Like, they don't come in and just, like, you know, fix these, like, bad eggs sometimes that do provide to a negative team environment, right? So it is a bit player to player in that regard. But there are definitely, like, a handful of names who we can think about who are exceptionally good Overwatch players, but who are assholes and who are, you know, contribute to a bad team environment.
Drop the names.
Well, I think the biggest one that probably comes from this is Chio, right? And it's hard to talk about because Chio, you know, has probably been the best main support in the Overwatch League the past couple of years, but, you know, they were pretty toxic to Donghack, for example. And I said it after the playoffs, and I said it, you know, when Donghack went up and accepted his Rookie of the Year award. Like, that was like a broken man. Like, Donghack looked broken on stage. Like, he couldn't respond. And I think in part that comes from all the bullying and quote unquote harassment he had to suffer from the team internally, right? Because, you know, they needed a different tank and it didn't live up to expectations and all this stuff. And it's a real shame to see. I've played with some real harsh players in the past that, you know, were really rude to me, and it sucks being in that position and being able to take that, and then it's like a negative cycle. And I think they describe this as well, where, like, if you're a young player and you get caught in this, like, negative cycle of getting criticized all the time, and then you play worse because you're getting criticized and you lose confidence and you just spiral out of control and you get worse and worse and worse, like, it doesn't do anything. And so, like, you know, I am equally amazed that some players don't have the self-awareness to acknowledge that their words and how they interact with teammates actually affect the team environment and actually affect people's performances in that regard. And we see some players suffer because of that, right? But yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what else to say.
Well, I mean, a lot of that comes down to coaching staff and whatnot as well, right? Because they're there to mediate between players and, like, manage those personalities in the team and prevent these clashes and prevent that being a thing. But sometimes even that is very difficult, and I think a coach's job is harder than what it seems to be on paper and what it seems to be from the outset. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing I took away from that kind of topic on the podcast was, what if we did have split regions? That's kind of my first thought when I listened to them talk about this kind of topic, and, like, oh, what if we had just the Korean region with mainly Korean players? Maybe you could have a couple of imports. What if we had, like, a Chinese region, and then it's just like League of Legends, basically LPL, LCK, LEC, and LCS. what if we did have those regions and you had import limits? So like you could only have like 2 European players, or like an import limit of only 2 per team. So it'd be like only 2 EU players can play on an NA team, 2 Korean players can play on an NA team. Same thing, right? NA players could go to EU and only 2 of them could play, etc. I think it'd be a very interesting way to go about the esports system. But obviously that didn't end up happening. Obviously we had a global league that all came together, and there was no like restrictions because it was obviously city based, and the majority of cities were in North America, so you couldn't really implement that at all. And I think we had the closest, when COVID happened, we had the closest that we'd ever come to that situation where we had the East and Western regions. But yeah, I think it would have been a very interesting way to actually run the ecosystem. And I'm curious of how it actually would have worked out. I think that would always be the greatest question for me, at least, or one of the greatest questions for Overwatch esports that I'll never get an answer to if we did end up splitting regions.
Before we get deeper into that topic, I just wanted to comment on the coaches thing a little bit first. I actually think coaches exacerbated some of the issues on the teams, because especially now going back to a great example of this is 2019 Valiant. Moon probably made it worse. Not gonna lie, like in terms of the whole Korean players versus Western players situation of Valiant 2019, absolutely Moon probably made that worse. And coaches have, depending on which team you're looking at, coaches either have a lot of power or no fucking power at all. Because one of the most insane stories to come out of that Uncoachable episode was the fact that Boston Uprising, the players on that team, just like mutiny kicked Dongsu, their head coach, in the middle of the Mid-Season Madness. Yeah. It's an insane story. Oh, they just mutinied the coach, and he got kicked mid-tournament. And then apparently Striker and Kalios ran the dugout. Wow. Like, I mean,
that's crazy.
You know, it's like, the criticisms like, could coaches do more? It's like, yeah, they could do more, and then the players could just mutiny them as well. So, you know, apparently, it's, depending on which team you're on, they have a lot of power or they have no fucking power at all. Like, you know, I believe that on teams like Florida, like Gumba, he definitely can rule that team with an iron fist. Then on other teams, like apparently Boston, it's just fucking cosmetic. And I think Gator did mention in his words as well, again, I'm paraphrasing here, but he probably should have put his foot down a lot more, but then if he does that, he creates an insane amount of tension between himself and the players. And on some level, you have to trust your players as well, because you're looking at a team full of world champions here. You're currently winning, because there was a whole bunch of stuff about, you know, we should have practiced other comps. We shouldn't have relied on the Sombra Tracer dive as much. You know, left us weak and open for basically the playoffs meta. They didn't feel as prepared for the playoffs meta because it was so all in on dive, and they lose that mirror versus Hangzhou Spark. And there's even the situations where he's talking about, you know, in that Hangzhou Spark series, he wanted to, as a coach, he wanted to pick Circuit Royale map 5 and sub Hawk into play. The players did not want that. The players said, no, we're not doing that. We're going to play with Dong Hack. So it was literally ended up being a Gator versus the Korean player situation. And at that point, like, what do you do? Do you actually just step in as a coach and say, fuck you, we're going to do this because I'm the coach? Or do you trust your Overwatch League championship, mid-season madness winning team and players with their experience? You just trust them to make it work. Because the risk is, if you do step in and you put Hawk in and you lose anyway, all the players are going to hard flame and blame you, and you're going to look like a fucking idiot. But then if you don't do it and your team loses, then you're like, fuck, I should have done that. So it's a very difficult place to be in.
Yeah. Honestly, like, this is one of the areas where it's really hard to like flame a team, obviously, because of hero picks, because you don't know what goes into that hero pick, right? Like, most of the time, you don't know if it's a coach decision, team decision, maybe it worked in scrims, it didn't work in a matchup, maybe it was something spontaneous, they had a good idea, it didn't work out, all this stuff, right? So it's so vague that it's really hard to like criticize team picks. But in the case of Atlanta Reign and some of those players and not being willing to swap over to this, like we kind of joked about it in like Plat Chat episodes and on broadcast and stuff, that just like, yeah, like they're just gonna mirror. Like, it was a joke on air that like, oh, they'll probably opt into the Hangzhou Spark mirror, because we know how they work. Like, we know how their brains work, and we've seen this so many times in the past. They tried to ego do the Hangzhou Spark, and they're gonna do it again. And we probably joked about it, you know, South Korea, China in the World Cup this year, even like before the matchup took place. So like, it's a known quantity, but I think it should reflect poorly on the players that like, you can't be the best player in the world, but then simultaneously opt into a bad compositional matchup, because then you're honestly just dumb. Like, you're honestly just like not playing the best game if you can't surpass like your ego duel in this very specific compositional matchup, right? So I think it should be a bigger like mark on their kind of like recent match history, the fact that these players repeatedly ego dueled Hangzhou Spark and Team China twice and lost out because they just weren't willing to play Bastion because they thought they were above playing Bastion. Like that's a fucking joke. So I don't know. I think it's fucking crazy that we treat these players like they're on the top of the mountain and they're the best players in the world, but they can't. Their ego is too strong. Their ego is too strong, but they're still the best players in the world. Like, come on now.
You need to look at Russia's a little bit here as well, because on some level, yeah, the Team USA thing is not great for Gator's reputation. But at the same time, I feel like no one's talked about Rush, about the whole Team Korea situation, because at that stage, that's a little bit of vindication, because it's like, yo, that same team, a Team Korea, plus like, you know, this time they have Sparkle and Armband and Fearless shit. They just did the same thing. 3 of those Atlanta Reign players plus those Dallas guys and Fearless, they just did the same thing to the Hangzhou Spark. And sorry, but you can't pin that on Gator this time. All the people that want to shit on Gator for that call, it's like, yo, wait, you got to bring the same energy for Rush then, because Korea did the same thing and they lost again to the same team. I'm just saying, like, come on, like on some level, it's Groundhog Day here for those Koreans. It's Groundhog Day for sure.
Hey,
He joins
What are
in,
you-
instantly
what
starts
are you
echoing.
doing?
hey guys.
Why are you
Hey,
so
I'm on my
small?
phone.
Oh,
I'm on my phone. The stream PC is fucked.
No.
that's
So I'm on my
awesome.
phone right now. I came out of a really long meeting. I just wanted to see what's going
okay.
on. You know, what's happening? Anything?
You still have a job, or?
Yeah. I
Okay,
do.
good,
I mean,
good.
you know, who knows how long, but we do. Like, you know, I'm just.
Oh, how did you
Oh,
connect
shit, that
your
looks good.
SM7B to your phone, by the way? That's
Yo.
kind
Oh,
of
what are you
hardcore.
eating?
They brought in some
Mediterranean?
after our company meeting. They brought in some Middle Eastern. I mean,
Oh, hell
some
yeah.
shawarma
That
and
looks
hummus.
good. Hummus,
Man.
chicken, pita bread.
Yo, give us the review.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
I am
Yeah, I
starving
don't have
right
any
now.
headphones either. They're downstairs.
Yeah, we can tell because it's echoing the entire call.
Oh, the whole call is echoing.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, it
maybe
is,
I can
it
go
is.
find something.
That'd
What
be
if
really
I, like-
good.
Do you have AirPods?
What if we do like
That's better, actually.
Look at that Mount Vesuvius, bro. Holy, god damn.
well, maybe I don't know what I'm gonna do then. I'm gonna have to go find something.
I mean, yeah, just a pair of wide headphones, maybe.
Hey, wait, what about this? What if you
Put
guys
Gronk on the
do-
stream. No way.
Baby Yoda.
No way. There he
you
Let's
guys
is.
go.
Can stay like this. I'm gonna be right back.
Well, it's still echoing.
Okay. Now we're
it's
just gonna
fine.
echo between the three of us.
Oh wait, well I can mute the mic. Here, wait, I can mute the mic.
Yeah. Mute the mic. There we are. Thank you,
Well,
Avast. No echo
he's
anymore.
looking great. Look at him. He looks so youthful today.
I love it.
He's been fed well by the shawarma.
I love it. Anyway, yeah. Do you wanna go on with our very serious topic about region locking here, Josh?
We haven't had Connor weigh in yet, so I kind of want to get his take.
Well,
as
he's
but
gone.
when he
he's not
fixes
here.
his thing, when he fixes.
You want to
his
do
thing.
region locking then while we wait? Because I think what you propose, Josh, is like interesting as well to see how it works. Because I feel like we have some evidence now, especially with like Saudi Arabia winning the World Cup and Lone Spitfire being successful, that like it wouldn't just be Korea dominating all the time. Yeah, they'd probably win most of the time, but like if you encourage growth in the North American scene and the European scene, they'd be competitive regions, I feel like.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, a region lock would have made sense when the game was obviously most popular. And I'm curious how the popularity of the league and of the various leagues in this instance, if we're looking at region lock, would have gone. And I wonder if it would have been like more popular as time gone on, or would it like have stayed the same, or like comparatively to how the league is done now? Like, I wonder if it would have been more popular, because if EU actually had a region, like there would probably be a lot more players and a lot more interested in the actual league itself, or like the EU league, in that sense, because we did get kind of dominated, like Europe. I mean, I remember being intrigued, like trying to stay up watching Overwatch League, and when we were in Ukraine, to cast contenders because we lived together, and it was impossible. It was almost impossible to watch Overwatch League because we're up to like a ridiculous time in the night trying to watch Overwatch League, but then obviously we have to get up. So it's just like, well, I guess we just watch the VODs, or like I guess we just, you know, oh, we'll only catch the good games, we won't watch the bad games. Obviously there were so many games back then too. It was like there's almost no point in staying up and actually watching the Overwatch League most of the time.
Same from Asia.
Yeah,
Same from Australia,
right?
Asia,
Because
that time zone.
it made sense in the moment because you were trying to appeal to a North American fan base, majority of them, right? Because look at the team split as well. It's just like, oh, and it's all in LA, of course, but like most of the teams are North American teams: Atlanta Reign, Houston Outlaws, Dallas Fuel, etc. Like it made sense, but like you got dominated if you were in any other region, which sucked. And me and Trid did stay up for playoffs and like grand finals and stuff in Ukraine, which is great, but like we couldn't do that every day. There's a couple of pictures of us, I think, watching it live, which was quite cool. But I do wonder how the popularity of the league would have been if we did have this region locking, because you compare it to like other games that have this region lock, and obviously the main one's League. As like an EU person, I started casting League of Legends. That's where I first began. I was able to watch LCK in the morning, every morning when I woke up, and then I could watch EU LCS. LCK was my favorite region, still is, but I was able to watch 2 regions easily from EU. Didn't watch NA, didn't really interest me that much at the time. Obviously, I was going for a job at LEC at that time, so like NA, League, and they don't win anything anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, how would it have worked out if we ended up doing region locking? I mean, if it did, I would be probably casting EU League, Overwatch, EU Overwatch. AVRL probably casting Korean Overwatch, you know, or maybe Chinese Overwatch. So yeah, I think it would have been a really interesting experiment, and I wonder how much the league would have taken off in those various regions too. Because there's no way, I don't think you can make an argument to say it would be less popular than Overwatch right now is in Europe.
If I was to be a hindsight Harry about it all, I would say that looking back, I think it would have been a more successful product. But that's easy to say because of how it's panned out. But I also think the experiment was worthwhile running. And the experiment was obviously city-based franchising. And that's the reason why you couldn't region lock, because if you're going to region lock, there's one Korean team. There's one Seoul Dynasty. That's it. So what? You're going to put 100 Korean players on one team? It's not going to work. So even region locking with, you know, soft limits, so you know maybe 3 domestic and 2 imports.
2 imports. I think that would make sense.
That's probably the number that makes the most sense, but that would have been very difficult still for the amount of heavy Korean talent there was. So it always will come back down to a raw talent versus fostering domestic talent plus fostering a domestic audience, because you know I'll say the quiet part out loud here. I think I've seen this sentiment a lot over the course of the years from different viewers and different fans, especially, by the way, fans. Our harshest critics are actually fans that probably left Overwatch League at some stage, like I used to watch and now we're gone. One of the critiques was like, yeah, like it's hard for me to follow London Spitfire when it's 12 Koreans. You know, and the people on the opposite side will say, well, you know, you should just be following the team for the team no matter who's on it, which I think that's all good and all, and it's probably the correct thing to do. But also, yeah, I can understand why some people would find that very difficult to follow as Connor arrives back on his PC.
Yeah, he's back.
So I can't hear him though, so that's fine. Can't hear him, but that's fine.
Holy.
So yeah, I totally get it. I totally get why that just wouldn't work for majority audiences. But I still think the experiment was worth running because you know we didn't know what city franchising was going to be. It was the first esports league to really attempt city franchising, and also the Overwatch League in season 1 and 2 were heavily trying to focus on the normie market, the ESPN, the Disney XDs, right? And so it's got to be a super NA focused show because you're going for the traditional broadcast networks. And that was another thing that wasn't really heavily done before. So there's a lot of experimentation going on. And if it worked out, it would have worked out amazingly. Obviously it didn't. Yeah. So as a hindsight Harry, you're like, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But you wouldn't have known it wasn't going to work out unless you tried. We did try.
I think I'm definitely the same boat actually, and like I'm glad we did it the way we did it, because if it did work out, like you said, it would have been sick. It would also, I'm not entirely sure about this. Obviously, I don't know the numbers, how much it costs to run like the league as it was versus like different regions. because the investment obviously all came from like North America, like Blizzard, Overwatch League as a company, like that kind of thing. I wonder if the investment and like how it would have worked out if you had these different regions, who would like shoulder the costs for those different leagues, because well, in League they're very much different. No, not different companies, but they're different regions that are like, okay, we're going to pull from our pool of money kind of thing. And I'm curious how that would have worked out, and if it would have received the same level of investment across the board, or like would it been very cut down and like slimlined because these different regions have to shoulder this cost. So yeah, I think on your point of like with the imports and stuff, I think it would have been fine. Like, look at the way League of Legends is done now. Like, you can have imports, and they do like routinely. North America, EU have imports from Korea, from like different regions and stuff, and it still works out okay. There's very rarely any Korean imports in Korea. I think one of the first ones was BBQ Oliver's, which was coached by LS, I believe, at that time, and they had, was it Nemesis or somebody? Like, there was a Western player on a Korean team. It was like one of the first times it's ever happened. Everybody's like, whoa, that's crazy. But like, China also has Korean imports sometimes as well, but it's majority like Chinese players. I think across the board it would have definitely helped in like fostering talent as well from those various regions. And like I said, I think
it would have
one
worked.
of the biggest casualties.
It would have worked if we had a more even split of teams. But in season 1, when it's one China, one Korea,
yeah,
and
sure.
10,
I mean,
10
you
NA,
scrap that completely.
EU, basically,
it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if the split is like, oh, mostly North American teams. You would have scrapped that completely. Like, that wouldn't have been a thing going into like a regional based thing at all. It would have just been,
but then
here's the fucking 6 teams, like TSM.
Are we doing city-based? Are we doing city-based? Not, because if you're doing city-based, then it would require buy-in from
no.
whatever
it would have
city.
Completely different system.
Right, because I also think another one of the critiques is the whole city-based thing. I don't want to dive too deep into city because that's not really the topic of the show. But yeah, I mean, I think some of our harshest critics are the people that left the esports, whether that's Overwatch League or even earlier. And another one of the critiques is the fact that it's too hard to buy into the city-based thing if you're a traditional esports fan, because you're traditional esports fans, you want to follow the traditional esports orgs. You'd rather follow Cloud9 than London Spitfire if you're a traditional esports fan. I think people in the community underestimate how many of the traditional esports fans we lost, because everyone in the sub will always say like, oh, you know what, I wouldn't be here unless it was for the city-based franchising because I love Philadelphia or I love New York or whatever it is. But it's like, yeah, that's survivorship bias. So you don't see the amount of people that left because the city-based thing happened.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here a little bit. I also think that we didn't our best examples for like what worked with the city-based models. They kind of like did put the stick in the wheel meme and kind of like screw themselves over. So like I think there were tons of Overwatch fans in New York who would have loved to support New York Excelsior. But it goes back to what you said earlier, you know, saying the quiet part loud, that like, I think a lot of people who were fans of New York Excelsior, they were just like, well, can't really relate to any of these players because they are a full Korean lineup. And especially after, you know, that initial 2018, 2019 kind of roster, when they moved on from that and they started sucking, and like, there was just no way for like the American audience to relate to American players in their local cities, you know? Same goes for Valiant. They'd like fucking move to China, you know. Philadelphia Fusion turned into Seoul Infernal, and they moved across the coast. Dallas moved as well, and you know there were not a ton of teams. Houston Outlaws was like one of the few that like stuck for the most part in their local city and had American personalities and tried to cater to their local audience. No, so I don't think I think the city-based model. I think it just wasn't meant to be in the Overwatch ecosystem because, you know, the Koreans are dominant. You know, the Koreans are the best players in the world. And if you want to win, you need Korean players in your lineup. It's as simple as that, right? And that doesn't go well with a city-based kind of model, right? And so I think city-based can still maybe work in the right esports somewhere. I mean, maybe Avast can speak to this because CDL is completely different in that regard. And, you know, there's no Korean players in CDL, right? So I don't know what Avast experience is in that regard.
Can I just
what the
add
hell
a
are we
quick
talking
thing?
about?
Okay.
I don't know. It's the off season, bro. We're like, we're just
no,
ranting.
I was, you know, I had a really long meeting that ran over. and then I got here, my PC was borked, and now I'm back. So I don't know what. I'm assuming what.
Want to catch up? Do you want to? Do you want to real?
Can I quickly put my thing in just before, because I think it's more of a systemic issue where
me
when
I I'm sorry, you said quickly put my thing in, so I'm like, go ahead.
Okay. Finish the joke. No, let me finish mine first. Oh my god.
That's the joke. No, you go.
I think it's a bit more of a systemic issue where like, look at the amount of transfers and trades and like roster swaps and roster moves and like whole team like deletions that we've had over the years of Overwatch. Like, I think it would have been easier for, let's give an example of the New York fan base. Like, okay, we've got Jonak and this team and whatnot, but like, holy shit, did that team change? There hasn't been many teams in Overwatch League that are like same year to year or close to being same year to year. Because the amount of like players dropping, whole teams dropping and stuff going from like this year to the next is fucking crazy. And I think the teams that do end up sticking majority with the roster going from year to year, they're the most fucking popular ones. Like, Houston Outlaws is a very good example. When like Jake and Dante, etc., are on the roster, like there were big changes going from year to year, but like there weren't just like crazy blow-ups. And I think London Spitfire garnered a lot of fans because a lot of them are like Hardy, a big personality in the scene at this point, like, and how they play and whatnot is very much contributed to their popularity, but also them not changing a lot going from one year to the next. Obviously, before that, it was like a crazy Korean roster in 2020 of like 12 players. But like when they actually solidified, okay, we're going to go with European talent and like an American, you know? And then, next year, we're going to change it slightly, but nothing crazy. Like that, I think that as well doesn't help fans like sticking with a certain team. Because if we just have these random team blow-ups, then it's extremely hard to stick with the team. It's like, okay, I really like New York because I'm in New York. But like, man, my team just blows up every year. Or like, we trade like all the roster apart from one. Bro. Like that, I think that hurts the most.
Shall I catch Connor up? And by the way,
what the hell are we talking about?
I'll quickly add as well to the whole blow up thing. Part of the Gator talked about this as well, but there's so much pressure on these teams due to Korean work ethic that like the amount of burnouts, the amount of blow ups is like, that's partially the reason. He would at least say that. But the catch up here for you, Connor, is essentially we're going over the hot topic of the community of the week, which is Koreans ruined the Overwatch League, as said by Gator. And the summary is, I don't know if you watched the episode that you tweeted about, you commented about it.
I watched it.
You watched it. So we're basically talking about that subject now, and we've sort of moved through the discussion of the whole Korean versus Western dynamic on the teams. We started talking about, region locking as a hypothetical. Maybe we'll do it chronologically for you. You were part of the season 1 race war. What happened there?
The season 1 race war.
I'm bossing up prices.
The season 1.
Let's not fucking go that far. That's not.
I mean, okay, it's fun. It was,
Jesus
to be
Christ.
fair, that's a joke that is very insider because like there was definitely a thing in Overwatch League for a lot of the players, especially within season 1. I think it was the most brutal dynamics for a lot of teams where there was very big Korean Western splits. Like really, like very the most noticeable ones, obviously, were like I think Valiant had the most noticeable like public of those, but like it definitely was a thing that occurred. Like there was big frustrations in Boston at the time between the Korean Western split as well. So I mean, it's funny just call it the race. It's funny to call it that because like people joked about it. But there was definitely like a mix of that. I mean, I don't know. Like what's like are we supposed to talk about like how they integrated or they meshed? Like what here is our topic here like are we seriously debating did Korean like did Koreans ruin the Overwatch League?
So Gator basically said that the team culture on Western dominated teams or like or mixed teams that are Western led is far healthier in terms of a work culture, team culture than like majority Korean teams. As someone like Gator has been on both sides of that coin. So that's been his argument.
Yes, I agree the team culture is healthier, but in return, it's also unhealthy in a way. Like, so it's like, I view it from my personal experience and also from my time in esports since then. I view Korean team culture and Korean dominated team culture as like, you're exercising. It's like a sedentary versus active lifestyle. Korean team culture in esports is like you're exercising too much. Your muscles can't recover. Your body is breaking down. Bro's been on the ultra marathon for 50 days through the Yucatan Peninsula and his fucking sandals and shit. Like you're gonna get a cardiac event. You're gonna have a heart attack because your body can't rest. You're gonna mentally break. North American team culture, much like reflecting our current society, is very sedentary. It is, their asses are chilling, really. Like, it's not like, and it's not that Western players don't work hard, because they do. There's a lot of hours put into it, but the scope of the work is very different, and the amount of, like, how seriously it's taken is also very different. Like, a lot of Western professional players are like, yeah, we got to practice, we got to play, but, like, I'm clocking in, I'm clocking out, like, like, we got other shit to do. I want to enjoy my life. Like, also, like, okay, we troll a couple scrims. We do a little trolling, we do a little trolling, like, and it's not that Korean players didn't troll scrims. They do. Korean players are actually some of the most notorious scrim trollers, in fact. But, like, it's just, like, yes, it's much more relaxed, but because of how relaxed it is, it's almost harmful. Because people the attitude problems in Western, like, I would say, like, an attitude problem in a Korean situation is that, like, a lot of Korean team cultures, like, there's a lot of toxicity created from results, from, like, being results driven. Like, we have to be perfect, we have to win, we have to while a lot of Western player toxicity is resulted from, like, dude, it's so cool to not care. Like, it's so cool to not care, man, because I'm 19 years old and I never went to college, and to not care is cool. So it's very different, I think, the two divides between them, because they're both unhealthy in certain ways.
What you're saying is somewhere in between. You need a mixed team in between.
I would say a mixed
Best
team.
of both.
There's a reason why mixed rosters, like, when you think about who's won, like, the most, like, success in terms of, like, back-to-back, there's a reason why Shock was the most successful roster in Overwatch League history, essentially, right? It's like why that Shock from those 2 years back-to-back were so ridiculous from 2020 to 2021. Obviously, full Korean rosters, because of the same amount of talent and work ethic, have still won plenty of things, right? They've still, like, obviously won multiple grand finals in the Overwatch League. But, like, in my opinion, the Shock 2022-2021 run, the reason it worked is because it's and also even, like, for example, Boston in season 1 and, like, Valiant, like, when we've integrated mixed rosters, they get these really incredibly good highs that a lot of, like, full Korean rosters didn't, because, like, you're taking mixed talent and you're also trying to mediate the team cultures, where it's like, we're not just, like, burning ourselves out, and also we're not lazy pieces of shit, which is a little harsh. Like, that's not truly, like, Western players aren't lazy, but it's more so, like, they're lazy in comparison to Korean players, a lot of the times, and their like, indifference, I think, hurts them. So, in my opinion, I think, like, the mediating of team cultures is a really good thing that Overwatch did, and, like, it's why I think it's been really successful in Overwatch League compared to a lot of other esports. Most notably, really, it's compared to the league with the integration of Korean players, because of just how available it was, how much mixing there was between the regions with the usage of players. So, like, my experience is that Western players typically just get kind of complacent / like, it's cool not to care type of thing. No one wants to care that much. Like, people get tilted and they don't care. While Korean players, when they get tilted, it's because they care too much. They care so much. It's like, if I lose this match, like, my life is over. And it's like, no, bro, you got, like, 15 more matches. Like, it's good. Like, and while Western players are like, I don't give a shit, I got 15 more matches, So, like, both of them are unhealthy, like, two sides of the coin. Like, those extremes, those are the extremes of both the cultures, per se. So it's yeah, that's my experience so far, is like, and there's very different expectations, and I think that's the other thing where, like, a lot of this frustration where it's like, oh, well, like, X team culture is better, like, the Koreans are toxic towards, like, Westerners, or Westerners are toxic to Koreans, like, like, this is that, like, even teams with translators, there's so much lost in translation still that, like, you don't get the full context of what they're saying to you when you hear it secondhand, and you don't understand what they're saying. And additionally, it's like, gamers are also just, especially professional esport players, are, like, bad communicators. They're bad communicators on top of that. Like, they're great in-game communicators, because they've essentially metagamed comms to where we all say, like, 2-word syllables, and they've learned how to do ranger army signs and be like, like that. Like, that's very optimized. But actual interpersonal communication, where I speak words and those sound waves then go to your ears and you understand what I'm saying, that is a sort of a lost art, and that they've never learned the art. So it was never lost, it just was never found. So like it's just like I think that's the situation where a lot of and looking back, because when I was a player in 2018 in Boston, I had a huge amount of like there was a lot in that 2018 roster. There was a lot of resentment and some infighting between the Western squad and the Korean squad there, of which I saw a lot firsthand. I was like, what the fuck? And then looking back, and I was still slightly older than most players were when they entered the league. And like looking back now, I'm like, I realize, and I have more experiences. Like it's all because of the communication issues. Just we didn't even have a dedicated translator until like stage 4, like of season 1.
That's insane.
And like we had someone that could translate, but they weren't a translator. They were just a manager, you know? And like we didn't have like, and just the fact that all these other things, soft skills that are lacking with, I think, esport professionals and how young they are and stuff like that. Like it's, you look back and realize like, oh, this wasn't some sort of grand evil conspiracy. It's just like people didn't know how to use their mouth holes properly.
Right.
And even if they did know how to, even if you were like the best commer, there was a language gap that had to be overcome. That's hard to overcome without a lot of work.
Also, we talked about this before, where you look back at some of those days and we just like laugh at how serious we were, and like, not to really go back to your like, oh, I don't care kind of thing, but like you get bogged down in like things that don't matter in the long run, or like issues like
you're serious about the wrong things.
Yeah, like, oh, we lost that fucking round, and like that losing one round brings like systemic issues like 1 week later and shit, and it's just like looking back, you're like, whatever, dude. Like there's
a lot bigger things to be focused on. So like that's
like,
so to me, I'm like, I think a lot of this is just looking back in retrospect when I had those feelings myself when I was younger and as a player, and also like as a lot of people have now. It's just like it's just communication issues, and it's so hard to solve them because of the language barrier, on top of the fact that gamers aren't good communicators. And a lot of these orgs don't prioritize this at all. They treat it as an afterthought. And even like ourselves here at Mayhem, I think we had one of the best in the business with Wingchip. She's really, really good. She's an incredible manager and translator, and like is like really able to translate back and forth really well. But it's still, there were things that were lost in translation, especially with the staff and things like that, where like it's not perfect. It's hard to get it across, even when you have like someone that's really good.
Hard to translate Gumbo. I know that.
Well, it's not even just that. It's also hard to. It's not even hard to translate Gumba. It's also hard to to really properly convey all the emotional context of a word to someone.
You have to translate machine code into Korean.
Well, because also for the Korean players, like, oh, like they'll say a comment and then Gumbo like would hear this and be like, whoa, what the fuck? But like it was lacking the context of their response, you know, like even with someone that's really good at it. It's so hard. Like communication is so hard because we're such, at the end of the day, we're emotion-based creatures that it's like, if you lack that context of it, it's really, really hard to like understand, especially in like a very tight-knit, high-pressure environment where everyone's trying to win. And also everyone is like 19, 20 years old, and this is the highest stakes their life has ever been. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna go play some video games for money. This is the highest stakes their life has ever been. And it's like, bro, we got like, there's right now there's probably some heart surgeon about to do like a quadruple bypass for the 4th time in the past like 2 days. That like if he fucks up once, that dude's dead. That guy like I'm just saying that like it is high stakes and it matters and we should be invested in it, but it's like there's just a lot of lacking in that human context.
One of the stories from within the Atlanta Reign that was really interesting was like how they won something like 3 months worth of scrims without dropping anything. And they had one scrim where they went like 5-1 in maps. They lost a single map, and the team treated it like the entire season was over. And Gator's like, chill, guys. It was one map, guys. It was one map. And the team was like hard fuming. They were hard flaming each other. And that's just the type of situation there, because they were so hard focused on winning and they were so used to winning, they couldn't handle a single map loss in scrims. And people will say like, well, Gator should have done more. It's like, bro, he was trying, man. He was like, calm the fuck down, everyone. It's not that bad. We're chilling here. We're still the best team. It's not a big deal. And one of the phrases,
you never know, they could have done a mutiny against Gator. They could have just.
But that's the thing, right? Because that could have happened to just like it did to Dongsu. So it's hard as a head coach to step on too much, because you kind of do think about that situation a lot. And one of the things he said as well that was really interesting was like, on Team USA, like a full Western team, when they play ranked, they will hard flame the players in ranked, But then to their own team in the scrims and in the team environment, they're super friendly and respectful. They all love each other. The Koreans is the complete opposite. They'll be super respectful and ranked. People will be throwing hard sim, hog one tricking, and the Koreans will say nothing like, oh, that's sweet. Don't worry about it, guys. Ranked is fine. And then in scrims and towards their own team, they will hard flame each other. Complete opposite situation.
All right. We're feeling good. We got it out of the way. We got our clickbait out of the system.
This
Well,
kind of
I feel like you guys probably discussed the rest of the topic to death anyways. So like I don't know if I put in my full like whatever, but like realistically, you sounds like you guys talked to death anyways. So like whatever.
We're at 55 minutes of Avast, and I have no idea what we just talked about. Like I can't recall a single thing we talked about for the past.
Well, the
55
Mauga
well, we
just
can
got
just-
released, so
Yeah. Let's go to that. Let's talk about the game, because the game is popping off. We got Mauga. They changed the description. They're doing a bit of a social media thing here. Wow.
yeah, the takeover. Woo.
The takeover. Woo.
Yeah,
And so there's a new short that dropped 17 minutes ago.
7-minute animated.
Let's test the
short,
audio for
yeah.
Connor. Make sure Connor's got the Discord unmuted. You can hear the short.
I have the Discord not unmuted.
Okay.
Now I'm unmuted.
Animated
React to
short.
Plat Chat
Oh
Member.
my god, that's loud. That is loud. Is it just me?
Audio works.
Audio work for me.
All right. Calm down on the volume a bit there.
Everybody calm down.
Where's Mauga? I'm gonna kill him.
Reaper, Somra, report.
Mission success, Akande. We achieved the objective.
Yeah, me and Smokey got the power relay data just like you wanted. Well, most of it.
Most of it. What I wanted was a clandestine operation. Clean, surgical, and precise. You just destroyed a 300,000-ton null sector carrier in broad daylight. I could see the explosion from space.
Okay, so we ran into a few problems.
I am listening.
Tracking the target was easy. The ship was badly damaged in Gothenburg. Never even made it back to base.
The music is crazy.
Better for us.
Very Ocean's 11
Yeah.
vibe.
Ocean's 11.
Get the heist. Get the heist ready.
No, it's not a heist movie. Oh, old Sombra moment. Putting down transfer.
Mauga! This is supposed to be surgery. We don't need a butcher.
Don't worry, they're dead.
Deactivated, and I wasn't worried.
This is like the Subnautica ship.
It is.
It's gonna explode.
Yeah. Hey, you guys know what we should do?
Yeah, we should grab the data. You know, like we planned.
Holy.
There you are, Preciosa. Time to tell me all your secrets. Okay, access, data, power relay system.
Hey, are we, taking suggestions?
Just hold the perimeter.
Are we gonna watch this for
whatever.
7 minutes, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What
Off season, baby.
Holy shit, we are starved
What
for
is he
content.
doing?
Yes, we are.
We're just gonna sit here and watch this.
I mean, I'm watching it. Yeah, it just gets out. Why not?
We're being very respectful watchers right now.
The music is very like Tekken 4 beach map kind of. No?
Tekken 4 beach map. And
I mean, I
Ocean's
just have
11.
it's just heist music to me.
It's heist,
all
yeah.
heist music.
It reminds me of Tekken. I don't know why.
It's kind of got the arcadey vibe for sure.
Stop. Very illuminating. But are you saying he's no longer loyal to us?
Ha! You can have his loyalty. Mauga is a loose cannon, and I don't trust him.
We're out of time. Sombra. We've got to go.
Not without the data.
I feel like this is the most I've ever heard Reaper talk.
The data.
So you want to play,
Seriously.
huh? Okay.
All right, she can translocate out, guys.
Holy hacker mans.
Holy
Classic hacker man.
Sombra should get a Lucy skin
Oh,
from
sweating.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Don't think it hasn't been fun.
Do you think she did that with a Google Glass? You think she has some Google glasses on? That's
Dude,
how
they
she
should bring that
was
shit out. I'm
Oh,
just saying.
they
These guys
broke
are
the
crazy.
TP.
They broke the TP.
Oh, these are good players on the other team. They broke the TP.
The op should have been a piece of cake. It wasn't. All because of him.
Why'd they bring him then?
A partial
Just
victory
blow it up, bro.
is no victory at all. Deal with Mauga, or I will deal with you.
It's very ominous.
Yeah, what's Doomfist gonna do against Sombra, bro? I'm just saying. Like,
I mean, also canonically versus Reaper, how the fuck do you even kill that guy?
Yeah.
How do he just smoke?
What'd the big man say? Oh,
He
let me
smoke.
guess. Handle it. Yeah, he doesn't mess around, does he?
We did our job. We came up short because of you.
Aw, that ain't fair. You know I'm always looking out for you. I even brought you a souvenir. Ain't nothing more fun than a sinking ship. And if there's one thing I know, it's ships. Yeah, I tried to tell you earlier, but you look kind of
This
busy.
is the big twist in the heist.
So I took a walk.
They show
No,
how
he
they
has a
actually
double
run.
cross.
This is when
Really
George,
wanted the plans to
George
build
Clooney
this
comes
new
in and shows
tower
how it's done.
How secure would it be if we actually just got them theirs? They wouldn't be needing it anymore. Especially if nobody got that distress signal.
I feel like that's a very bad ship design if you have a free floating power source that if it moves, it blows up your whole ship.
yeah, it doesn't seem.
I don't
Health and
respect
safety
the engineering
compliant.
specs on this.
Mauga's playing football runner. He's just running through that defensive line.
No ship, no record.
Dude, these
no
robots
witnesses,
fucking suck.
No
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm like, they haven't hit
What
a single
difficulty is
shot.
this?
Be happy now.
AI
But you
moment.
give Doomfist that, and he'll be all smiles. Looks like you owe me one. But who's counting? Hey, this was fun. Want to do it again sometime? You know where to find me.
Where?
He
New
just
map.
Where do they
Where's the
find
map?
it?
Nowhere.
In the
His bro
ocean?
just goes
Like
in
he's
the
just in
New
the
map.
ocean?
Now this was a great day.
There you go.
Oh!
I am.
Whoa!
Excellent. Excellent stuff.
There you go.
I have some questions about the lore.
Yeah.
Where is he?
By the way, quick shout out to our audio listeners who just had to go through all of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, audio listeners,
listeners.
best to just skip like 8 minutes.
Yeah, skip 8 minutes. Unlucky guys. Oh wait,
appreciate
do
We
you,
had
it.
really
guys,
listeners.
insightful stuff to say there.
do you upload the video to Spotify? Because they do video to Spotify now.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Maybe they tuned in for that bit
Yeah.
if they're not in their car.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe
There you
there's
go.
some-
The animation's sick though. I do enjoy when they do the very anime style. I think it's a very good style for Overwatch. I think when was the last time they did it for the Doomfist short had one as well,
Doomfist
right?
one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, then that was sick. That
Doomfist
was
one.
really good animation. I love that a lot. So I like that they brought that back.
I also think it's cool that they did the Mauga takeover because I think that's one thing that has been we've talked about on the podcast before. It's like they've so severely underutilized the IP they've made. And it's like
Yes.
like a character taking over a social media account is like it's very minor, if I'm being honest. Like it's like it's a very minor thing, all things said. Like when I'm talking about utilizing IP, we're talking about like shows and movies and blah blah blah. But like at least it's we're starting to see a little bit more movement back there of like, oh yeah, let's kind of use like our multi-million-dollar IP that we pay all these like artists and developers to like build and voice actors to make, content that's actually engaging for fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this to death, and it's it's like, okay, where's the animated short? Like, where's the animated Netflix series, etc.? You know, like, god damn, they built this amazing universe, but it does feel a little bit underutilized still, sadly. But yeah, I mean, even just these shorts, like 8 minutes worth of content and like animation and stuff, I think it's kind of sick.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And they're working on it. They're working.
Aaron
on it.
is no longer. Wow, he killed Aaron Keller. Rest in
Keller
peace.
died.
Wow.
Rest in peace. It is now only Mauga.
Wow. Check out this stuff Aaron wrote.
Coming for you, Jared. Wow, he's gonna kill Jared next. This is so sad.
Well, about the Netflix show thing, I think I can't recall the source, but I do think that Jared tweeted out sometime like a month ago, and just like, you know, if you have like thought about it, then we have thought about it. Meaning that like, if we throw out stuff like, oh, why don't they, you know, cooperate more partnership with, you know, sneakers or real life products, Netflix show, like, he was like, we've talked about that stuff essentially, right? And so, you know, it feels like it feels like in 2023 it's been a good year for still Overwatch, the franchise, as in like taking some really good steps in the right direction, right? So with that, I'm looking forward to what 2024 brings, because it does feel like all this stuff is cool, and you know, they're highlighting the game franchise, and it feels in some way like we're moving in the right direction, right? Yeah. Getting all this really cool stuff. So it's nice being an Overwatch fan.
I mean, having collaborations with like One Punch Man, like K-pop groups and stuff like that. It's been crazy. Yeah. It's been the most insane year for like Overwatch content for sure. Yeah, so it's good. Yeah,
they also
it's pretty good. Yeah,
the balance preview. Supposedly.
Oh, okay, bring that up.
I'm doing a very quick summary of it at the moment, but we can go through. Actually, we'll just go through it line by.
Let's just go through it point by point
because there's something about a different hero each point. So starts with alt charge, which I still am not a big fan of this passive. I would prefer they just got rid of this alt passive where you retain the alt charge, but they're reducing from 25 to 15, which is an improvement. I'd still like it to be reduced to 0 personally, but that's just me.
And they're looking to reduce counter swapping. They say that's why they're lowering the ultimate retention, because they want to reduce counter swapping. That's been a pretty big criticism since Overwatch 2 came out, that it's been a lot of like counter swapping all the time, which Overwatch is supposed to be about, but to some degree you don't want to get rewarded for.
It is the tank players being like, man, I have to switch. Okay, I have to switch again. Oh, I have to switch again. I get it. I get it. Yeah. It does suck. It does suck having to be just sat there like, okay, I'm gonna roll out this hero. Okay, now I can't play this hero because the enemy tank's playing this, or like they're playing this. Okay, now I have to swap, like, and then I have to swap again because the enemy tank swap. Like, yeah, I get it. It's a frustrating part of the game, I think, if it's done too much. So
it's also
I don't have a problem with it, but I don't think like the ult charge rates. Obviously, the retention is a very big part of it, but it's not. It doesn't really affect like what people are complaining about of like, oh, this counter swap meta, because people are like, oh, well, this, you have to play this hero into this hero. People don't swap because it's like, obviously there's like, if you swap and lose ult charge, like you're disincentivizing swapping now again versus incentivizing. And so like, I'm perfectly cool with the change. I think the change is good. I'm just wondering like how the data is gonna like pan out into like, oh yeah, this is a tangible impact, because like I feel like a lot of counter swapping, it's like people are just ingrained. It's like, well, everything play this hero, I have to play this hero. It has nothing to do with the ult charge. Like you could be like, in fact, that's been beaten in, especially at the high levels, been beaten in. It's like your ult charge doesn't matter. You should just swap.
It's better to swap sooner than later. Otherwise, you're just gonna get.
So to me, I'm like, this is kind of like, seems like a superficial change, but also like it could be very impactful for people at different ranks where they feel like the ult charge matters more.
I think that's the most important point to bring up, is it probably is going to alter the perception at the lower ranks where there are just more people, like in general. So overall, like changes like this aren't really targeted, I don't think, at like anywhere near the high level, pro level, whatever. It's just like they want to kind of get rid of the perception, I would imagine. So, well, I guess that's what they're fucking stating in the blog, right? So, yeah, I do think it's nice to kind of shift that perception away from like, you have to counter swap. There's always ways to work around like your tank getting countered and stuff, but it's not on your dime if you're the tank player. Like a lot of that agency, when you're like, okay, I want to stick with this hero even though I'm getting countered by the enemy tank, the agency is taken away from you and put onto your teammates to help you get over this like counter. So yeah, maybe that's where they wanted to try to shift the agency towards the tank player themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. They also wrote in the blog that they're looking to make some additional changes to some core mechanics in the game for Season 9 that will line up with the release of the competitive overhaul. They're not quite ready to talk about that.
What the fuck does that mean?
Well, there has been, some rumors about the whole reducing respawn
That's
time.
no, there's no rumors. It's just straight fact now. Like that's not coming to comp.
Fair enough. All right, that's not coming to comp though.
No.
But also, I believe they mentioned at BlizzCon or something like that they do want to make some big changes to change up the game once in a while. And not be it entirely, linear and stuff
oh god,
like that.
hero pools again. Oh god.
Well,
no, it won't be hero pools.
Well, I have no idea what it's going to be. Obviously this year in 2023, it's been a big topic of hero bans and stuff like that, right? I'm honestly, I don't think it's going to be anything extreme, but I'm at least open to some pretty sizable core change, just for the sake of trying something new out, right? It might not even be the best thing for competitive integrity reasons or best for the game, but I do think that they are willing to change something up for the sake of, hey, let's try this out, let's see if this is fun temporarily.
Yeah, I think there's a philosophy behind this as well of balancing and stuff that I've been thinking about actually over the last few days in terms of balance. So with live service games, we've gone away completely from box games now. Apart from I'm gonna be real, you could count COD as a fucking live service game. You're just paying fucking $80 every year for a new fucking game that looks slightly different, kind of thing. But with a live service model, there is an incentive, unlike games back in the day. Let's take Halo 3 for an example, to balance the game every patch, every season, a couple of times a season, because that's just how live service works. You have to keep players invested into the game for them to get more engagement, play more, and then spend money on the game to then obviously fund development. So you kind of have to change the game every cycle, every season, or in Overwatch's case, twice a season, one at the beginning, one at the middle point, and then obviously when you roll into the next season, it's the beginning and then the middle point. And you just have to keep doing that to make the game feel fresh every single time. And I think as long as they routinely actually stick to that and change up the meta, especially near the highest levels. And I personally have the philosophy of top-down balancing. Fix shit for the top and stop making things super OP, and then you have to run this comp Sigma May fucking sim bullshit, or you're at a disadvantage, which is fine for a patch cycle, but as long as you actually make a gigantic shift, at least for the top end, every single cycle of patches, one in the middle, one in the beginning, I think it's fine, and then everything else trickle downwards, and that's my philosophy anyway of balancing. But I think not shifting and not making these big changes is a bad thing, and I do think if they just continue to do this, the game will continue to feel fresh. And I think in the past there's been a little bit of a struggle with it because they don't want to make too crazy changes, otherwise shit becomes OP. But it's it's okay if it's OP for a few weeks, and then they can change it in the mid-season patch. That's completely fine. I don't think there's an issue there at all. But a larger scale tank change, I think is good. Just anything to kind of keep the game up to date and fresh. But I'm curious what that fucking is. Are they going to we're reducing shield health but increasing everybody's HP, so we're more brawler now? But as long as they are very quick to react to very overpowered characters that come out of this meta in the mid-season patch, then it's a good thing. But being heavy-handed is always better here than
when they say core, it sounds like respawns, because I know.
Dude, they're not going to change They says competitive overhaul,
but it sounds like something on that level. Do you know what I mean? Because what else is core gameplay?
Passives, ults, way damage interacts. There's technically a lot of different core gameplay mechanics.
How game modes work as well. Is the payload going to be quicker?
Okay, how many people? How many people on the full copium read that line and be like, "Oh, they're bringing 6v6 bad guys"? That's officially it.
Zero. Who the fuck's reading that shit?
Well, there's a couple diehard 6v6 fans. Yeah, oh yeah, you see him all the time. Pops up all. I mean, even pro. I mean, I think probably the coalition of the 6v6 is probably Hawk, in terms of in terms of the 6v6 top level spearhead. But
they should not bring that back. That shit is crazy dumb. To
Well,
bring
we
that back
we
at this
can't get
point.
into this topic again.
Yeah,
No, we're not
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
get to that.
yeah,
We're not
yeah.
doing this. We're not doing
It's-
this.
Yeah.
yeah, I
No,
don't think
like
that's it.
you know the old heads who always go like, "Oh, things were way better back in the day." This is just like the people who go out of their way and say 636 is better. This is just like an early symptom that they're going to age into that person eventually. So
Age into an old head.
well,
I mean,
age into the
technically-
things were better in the past. Right?
Technically,
Have
we're
you-
old heads.
Are we?
I mean, we are old heads. We're
Yeah.
old as hell.
I worked out next month, in the next couple of weeks, is my 7th year casting Overwatch. That's a fucking old head. And obviously,
No.
all of you are the same. That's a
Custa
fucking
turned
old head.
30 this last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, it's not based
28.
on age.
I'm not.
Old head is just kind of
Okay,
Old
in
head is
2
a
years,
status.
We'll all be
a
old
status
heads.
if you're in the
Okay.
scene for long enough. It's not age.
Status
the-
and age in 2 years.
What comes after old head?
Ancient
it.
head.
Older head, and then oldest head.
So you're literally an old head from late 20s until the end of your life.
For
No,
esports.
no,
yeah.
it's nothing to do with fucking your age, bro. It's to do with how long you've been in the scene.
So, like, for example,
Oh.
if someone's like 40, but they just joined, like, they just started, let's say they just started casting Overwatch this year, but they're 40
They
years
are
old.
not
They're
an
not an
strictly
old head.
Overwatch. Just Overwatch. Got it.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
then
yeah,
you'd
it
be
could
an
go for
old
any
man
scene,
with a
but
young
yeah.
head.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If you're like 80 and you just started casting League of Legends, you're a new head in League. You know,
You're a new
like-
head. You're just old head with humanity.
All
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
We're out of control. Can I rattle off some of these tank changes, and you can just tell
Yeah,
me
go
which
on.
one you
Go.
think is the biggest one?
No changes to Roadhog.
No changes to Roadhog. Thank you, Avril. But they said he has a pretty high win rate. They want to see how Roadhog kind of like works out with the release of Mauga, because Mauga can counter Roadhog somewhat. So they're gonna leave Roadhog as is. When it
What
comes to
is
the other heroes,
okay? I have to examine that. What is Mauga's counters to Roadhog other than like the inflame? Like you can do extra.
And
like,
apart from you can shoot him.
like what is Mauga's answers to Roadhog? I don't understand
Yeah.
this.
You hold
What are they
down left
fucking?
click
What are
and
they
right click at
waffling
the same
about? Am I
time.
missing something? Like
There's-
because the leap is like powerful engage tool, which I guess you could technically like punish a Roadhog player with. But like, what is like he could set him on fire and do crits, but like, what is the answers that Mauga brings?
I think they
to
just
Roadhog?
mean damage.
Okay.
Like
I'm
Was
trying
that
to
the
figure
ultimate?
that out.
because
I'm
But
trying
the
to be like,
ultimate
what are they
Roadhog
talking
can't
about?
walk out.
against
Well-
Ryan, like what does Ryan do against Hog? You have to get in his face, right? You just hold and shield. It has to be just damage, is what they mean.
Yeah,
because
that's what I'm assuming.
It's like such a net neutral. Like thinking about the obviously I've not played Mauga, I've not played with Mauga. Oh no, I played him in the fucking playtest and training range, but that's it. But dude, it's a net neutral of like, okay, well the Hog just fucking does whatever he wants, and then I guess Mauga does him. But yeah, I think it's just.
I'm assuming it's just because you have the engage from the leap and you have like the crits.
And then you can
potential.
ult the Hog, I guess, and then the
Yeah,
Hog
they
gets
can't
trapped
flee.
with you, but then the Hog ends up using whole Hog, and you just get fucking detonated. Like I don't know.
hey,
It's
lifesteal. I don't know.
the lifesteal, I guess.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we
Perhaps.
can't answer that one for you. For the other ones, there are times when Doomfist players use his ultimate purely as an escape. It's a little disappointing to activate Meteor Strike and intentionally land on a health pack. So they're giving Doomfist 75 health per second
Oh.
while in the air. So if you're a low on Doomfist and use it as an escape tool, you get healed in the air so you can
Yeah.
re-engage with it rather than disengage.
Does someone else want to go
That's
first?
cool.
Because
Dude,
holy shit.
We need Scott's live reaction because I know he loves Doomfist.
So
Oh, man.
okay, me and Scott have been fucking complaining about Doomfist for like the last couple of weeks because holy shit, that hero is ridiculous. Like in a solo queue environment, that hero is kind of insane. I know there are a lot of like Doomfist heads out there, like Quakedon, for example. That are,
Doom
like,
heads.
Doomfist is actually Doom heads. That are actually it's like, oh, the hero is really bad, but like in a solo queue environment where everything's like quite random, I think Doomfist is very fucking good. Like, and using Doomfist's like ult as an escape tool, I think was one of his like main strengths in a way, because you can almost guarantee you're going to get out alive and you can go for a re-engage, and like the whole like healing in the skies is just like, okay, you can guarantee now the Doomfist is just going to wait there and just like come back down, and he has the mega punch and he's just going to fucking dominate your backline. I think it's probably just I'm a support player moment, and like I don't like getting fucking punched a mile away into a wall and then insta-killed by a Doomfist, but that's like a very strong buff, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Doomfist player, and I know Quakedon, I saw a few tweets from him that was saying like, this doesn't really fix the core problems of Doomfist right now, but I think the character is very oppressive.
It's a great change.
I mean, that
solo queue
keeps
tell you
him,
what.
I mean, this keeps him in the fight like really heavily
Yeah.
too, because
And
like a
his
lot of times
cooldowns
you're,
just got reduced in a previous patch.
like it feels like Doomfist is gonna be like the eternal bot. Like I'm gonna be fighting Saxton Hale here, where like
Yeah.
he's going to be constantly in the fight and you're constantly shooting, because before it's like, okay, he has the ult, he goes, you punish, he gets out with ult. Or maybe he re-engages, but it's risky, hoping that he gets a burst of healing or like an ult when he lands. But now it's like, bro's going to be coming back. He's gonna be like Superman. He just healed in the fucking yellow sun of our solar system. And now, bro, he's back on Earth. Like, this shit that seems pretty strong to me.
Yes.
I tell you what, Mauga took over the Overwatch Twitter, but QuakeDon took over the balance team for sure. I think 75 per second is insane. Maybe just a flat 75. I don't think if you just gave him a flat, you regen 75 health, that's it flat, might be okay. But per second is quite nice.
Or you can not stay in the air for a long time, man. You just stay in the air until you're full HP and you fucking.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
I'm
strong.
agreeing.
So what I'm saying instead is just a flat 75 or not even health.
75
health
health won't do anything, and it's a pointless change.
But 75 health is more than he gets now, so it's like still a buff. It's a net buff, and he's already pretty like he gets like a burst of healing. Like
no,
75 health
I
per
think
second
this is a fantastic change, but they need to reduce his strength elsewhere if that's the case. Like this is an incredible quality of life that makes Doomfist more fun.
Recently.
I don't think you should reduce him elsewhere. Reducing him elsewhere makes him just unfun and bad, in my opinion.
Though I'm very okay with this change if it makes Doomfist viable for a few weeks and like everybody's going to kind of play him. Doomfist is another like fringe hero where if you are good at Doomfist, you are really fucking good at Doomfist. And there's a lot of players that will maybe potentially now be like, okay, Doomfist, maybe he becomes like perma meta. It's just like, holy shit, you're really bad at Doomfist. Like, you just cannot play this character, clearly, because maybe you play Winston, maybe you play Ryan, maybe you play only Sigma kind of thing. But yeah, Doomfist, again, another fringe hero. And we talked about this before when Doomfist got buffed again, but you can either make this hero exceptionally strong or like kind of bad. But then if you are a very, very, very good Doomfist, you are just going to dominate and take over games a lot of the time. Yeah, and I think you can tell the players that play Doomfist and you can tell the players that don't when you play against one, at least. But again, I think this is fine for the time being. And if it becomes meta for a few weeks, great. And if it becomes way too oppressive because he can literally, like Connor said, just stay in the fight until the heat death of the universe, then yeah. It's
he's going to get 3. If he stays up there, the duration is 4 seconds for his targeting when he's in Meteor Strike. Yeah. That's 300 HP.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of fucking... I mean, we're giving a guy with more survivability than Roadhog extra health. Like, you're essentially giving this bro's getting like a mini take a breather, but it's from solar radiation. And he's gonna, like, be back in the fight with a power block, with a punch. Like, I don't think that is great, because he's already pretty... I don't mind Doomfist getting extra survivability, because the thing is... But Doom... The thing that is tough about Doom is that Doom is just Hog 2.0, and the fact that, like, he can only be good at 2 things. You have to pick a way, Western man. It's like you can be either super high damage, like I'm killing people, Doomfist engage, or I'm like survivable, tanky, displacing people, right? Same thing with Roadhog. You can either kill people, or you can survive and tank and displace people. Like other characters, there's a lot more utility given to them. Doom and Roadhog, they're very like one-dimensional in how they operate. So like if we make him really, really survivable, but he keeps his current amount of damage, then it's like, okay, that's kind of unfun. But then if you reduce his damage, and it's like, holy shit, this guy is like not fun to play.
So Hog pulls a player towards him, but Doom sends himself towards you. I see it. I can see the comparison. I understand.
Well, yeah, it's not just that. It's just like their kit is based off essentially one ability where you don't give any extra utility to your team. Like, Doom and Roadhog both give very limited utility to your team and how they play. Doom, I'd argue, gives a lot more because you can displace people off of high ground. You can engage on backlines and stuff. Like, obviously, there's a lot, but there's a lot more. You can sort of peel for your people a bit better because of power block. But, like, for the most part, like, they're both kind of, like, stuck in a similar situation.
I think Meteor Strike was a pretty ass ultimate, though, in my opinion. I think it was not the most exciting ultimate. One of the lesser impactful ultimates. Maybe that's like fine due to balance because his neutral kit is so good. But I don't mind a buff to Meteor Strike, but the issue is I think this combined with his neutral kit makes him insanely good.
I'm in for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for a temporarily Doomfist meta. Anyway, we gotta move on. Sure, all right, next thing. Ramatra. Tanks are supposed to take and create space. He can be a little too easy to ignore, so we're going to shift 100 of his health to armor, as well as slightly increase the size and damage of his projectiles to see if it helps.
100 of his health going to armor.
Yeah.
Okay, we are in the you cannot kill tank players meta. Like that's it. No tank is gonna
I'm
ever
booting
fucking
up
die
Overwatch right now.
Like holy shit, 100 health to armor is an insane change. Like crazy. That's
Where's
like
the Custa live
that
reaction?
feels
I
like
need to see
fucking
it.
Orisa fucking fortify bullshit where you're just like, well, I'm just not gonna shoot her. There's no fuck. Like what? The
Watching
fuck?
Jaws'
They're
face
bringing
when he
all
read that, he was
tanks
just
in
like,
line. The rest.
Like tanks are just
Jaws
not gonna
fault.
fucking die. I wonder if this is gonna be the big shift for tanks, where it's just like actually they're just immortal, and they're just like the queen, the chess piece, and then you just move them around indefinitely, and then they just kill things.
Well, it
Well,
gets better.
Again, I think I want to go back to like I think this is fine. I think you can do this as long as there's going to be a mid-season patch where you again change big things up and make things other things like very strong, and then like and shift things around, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean 100.
I mean, Romatra with
Next thing,
100
Senjala
extra
can fly.
armor. is
Supports are
crazy.
next.
Yeah, sure. Supports are next. They can
Yeah.
fly now.
Winston.
Okay, this.
Winston
Okay, what is
isn't the
this
best matchup
change?
for other
What is
tanks.
this?
This is the
part of
counter
his
ramp.
kit,
They got a
but
counter
the
ramp.
disadvantage feels too extreme and would like to alleviate it a bit. In Season 8, Winston's Tesla cannon will now ignore armored damage
great.
reduction.
Yeah, great.
Misspelled cannon. By the way.
I mean,
They
this
solved
is
the
they
brig
did-
problem.
what? I mean, it's actually
What?
kind of interesting because also Brig doesn't give armor, right? Doesn't it overhealth?
It overhealth it.
Yeah.
Oh my
so what does
fucking
it
God.
solve the
She
Brigida
gives her
problem?
self armor, and then
Yeah, she gives her
gets
self
extra
armor.
She gives the
So I
but-
mean, like Winston gets strong, but pretty much just all it does is buff Winston against what, like tanks and
Ram, I guess now as well. Like
yeah, I mean, like so it
Ryan
buffed
and
Winston
shit.
against tanks, pretty much.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
all I wanna
Winston's a
say-
better
all I wanna
tank
say-
shooter.
Bro, I got
This-
top
this
500 as
patch-
Winston and I didn't even realize that.
This patch, Goose Ray is feasting if he's still playing the game. Two
Yeah.
of his heroes just got buffed.
I mean, it's
I-
interesting.
okay.
I mean, I'm not necessarily directly. I'm not directly opposed to it per se, because I do think like one of the interesting things is like when you look at like Winston versus like more static comp matchups that have a lot higher armor, is that a lot of times you kind of have to like ignore the tank and you're like fighting the backline, right? That's like your dynamic.
Yeah.
So like this lets Winston kind of be able to pressure tanks more. But like also, is that necessarily a good thing? Do you want a comp that like can essentially kill your backline, but also now is more effective at killing your tank, which is like your whole like to me it just I don't know. I mean we'll have to see how it plays out. It's very interesting to me that you're essentially be like we used to have dynamics for comps. Now it's like actually like but Winston now can like kill the tanks that you gave armor even faster now. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I think this is almost an extremely inconsequential change because I just don't think, especially this first line, this sentence, Winston isn't the best matchup for other tanks. Like this, I think fundamentally misses the idea of like how Winston plays as a character.
Yeah, he's not really supposed to be good against the tanks that well, you know?
You're not killing tanks. You're killing like static DPS and you're killing backliners with Winston. That's just like how Winston works as a hero and works best. Like it does give a better matchup versus Brig, and it gives a better
Ashen.
matchup versus Torb, but like that against tanks, like this, and if you are using Tesla Cannon to shred a tank's armor, like the amount of healing that's in the game right now, or just in general, it just doesn't matter. It's like inconsequential damage. Like that Tesla Cannon combo is like, you're charging up Tesla Cannon, you're jumping in, and you're hitting them with a right click at the same time as you land, and then you're meleeing and two like those little combos that you can do, like really good Winstons do to like give good burst damage. You're not using them against fucking Orisa or like Ram. Like I think that it's like a slightly fundamental misunderstanding, like how Winston operates as a character or like should operate.
I will
in,
say
like,
this
dive.
makes, because we haven't seen the next change yet, but I will say it's looking rougher for Brigida. It's looking a lot rougher for Brigida when you combine this with one of the other changes. Not the somber one, but mostly the tracer one. But we can read the somber one.
Sorry, I went to a rabbit hole investigating Brig's armor. What was to say?
Pretty much, she hacks people for longer and does less damage now.
Oh.
I think that's pretty good actually.
Dude, we are slowly going back to Overwatch 1, Sombra.
Oh.
Yeah,
slowly.
Well, because I mean, the thing is that like essentially,
I think
the
that's
problem-
fine for EMP.
Yeah, for EMP, I actually prefer that for EMP because it's like I mean, realistically though, it's because it turns it from less of like, okay, you immediately just like fall over when you get EMP'd and dove to like, oh, like To be fair, that's not even exactly how it worked. To be because of this such a short ability lockout time, you could just dodge EMP and like have lamp up, but like, and then everyone hits their abilities back like almost as soon as the lamp goes down and like you live. So like I don't know, she's in a really weird balancing act where like they don't want her to be like the ultimate evaporator where like she pops ults or like she hacks someone, hits with a combo and they just fall over immediately, but they also like don't want her to be really annoying with like her ability lockout. So I see that they're trying to adjust the numbers a bit here, and
I think this is fine. If it was the actual manual hack, it would be a problem. I think it would just be like old Sombra.
I think
but,
it being longer for the ability
for
the ult is good. Yeah, I agree.
It's an ult. It's supposed to be like largely impactful, right? And it's an interesting note that they put here was her win rate hovers between 45 and 48% depending on rank. I think it makes sense because Sombra in essence is quite a complicated hero in a way because she doesn't play like any other DPS where it's like Ashe, Cass, Soldier, like Soj, like you're shooting frontline, you're shooting the other DPS, you're shooting the supports and stuff. Sombra's like you're in stealth, you're trying to get onto the back line, your escape abilities aren't as good as they used to be because you used to be able to just transcate across the map. Like it's a little bit more you're a little bit more pressured to use it a little bit sooner kind of thing because you can't just like instantly zip away at like under 100 HP. So it kind of makes sense that her win rate isn't that great, or like isn't 50%, but I think that's fine for a very unique hero. And it gives, I think, players on the lower ranks and like quick play and whatnot, it gives them a better opportunity to like actually have big impact with EMP and like focus someone down. Because 1.5 seconds, like doubling that, like that gives a lot of opportunity to go, okay, like killing one person as their abilities are locked out. They can't use nano to save somebody. They can't lamp themselves to save themselves kind of thing, or like use another kind of escape tool. So overall, I think this is good. I think it's going to affect obviously all the ranks overall because EMP is pretty fucking scary now. But no, it's a good change.
What was the percent damage on Alpha? I feel like it was like 50%, right? So they've gradually reduced it down to 25. I think it was at least like 40.
50%? Are you sure?
It was
40, wasn't it?
No, I think it was.
I mean, it was definitely a lot higher than it was now, but I can't remember. I don't know.
It was
I feel like 50
at
was
least
insane.
40, if not 50.
Yeah, 50 seems
I remember
insane,
it being high.
but I mean, it could have been.
I'm at
Anyway.
doing like 400 HP worth of damage with an EMP to a
Yeah.
thing.
So by the way, for all the people in chat saying 40%, that's what was public. You guys don't know, like when I'm saying alpha, I mean like before public, it was higher than that. I'm pretty sure because I remember in actual alpha, they nerfed it from something to 40, is what I remember.
I remember Sombra being played a lot in like the alpha or like the pre-alpha.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Like we basically go from 50
like, wow,
to 25. It is very
really
interesting.
strong.
Well, either way, it's not that anymore.
Not that anymore.
Soldier. Wow, this is insane change. Or like crazy that they're touching Soldier at least.
Yeah.
They really do. Soldier must be kicking some ass in the lower ranks. People
Dude.
must be like he must be beating cheeks down there because there's no way that they're like looking at his.
I think
his
Soldier's
heal
pretty
station.
decent.
His heal
ranks,
is
to be
too
fair.
crazy, man. But instead of reducing the heal, they're gonna increase the cooldown. So less uptime of Soldier's heal. It's too strong. Too strong.
I see. The thing is,
I can't speak to that.
I just find it interesting because I do think he's strong, but I just feel like it's just so weird that because to me the strength of Soldier is not from like obviously the kit, like his heal is good, but like really it's like what really generally tunes him to be really good is like how much damage he's doing, because typically you can like sustain his damage, you can go chase him off, like sure he'll drop a heal station, but it's like it's really just like how much damage he's doing is what makes Soldier so scary typically, because like he's like obviously being mobile and stuff like that is very, very strong, but like I don't know. I mean, maybe that's necessary.
Maybe the heal station was too good. Maybe maybe he was putting up too crazy a number.
But I probably feel like he was probably just really strong at lower ranks. So like, yeah, we need to nerf him
maybe.
somehow, and this is like the most easy nerf. This is the one I'm telling you. This Tracer Pulse Whistle nerf along with Winston, Brigida actually just said drop the prof. They dropped the pro.
Dive is so Barak. You know, it was forced before, but now dive is truly Barak.
And
that
damage
actually
to the
means
pistols and ignoring armor with Winston.
Well, Brigand's
like,
still going to get played because you play Brigand dive comp, so the playtime's still going to be there.
No, yeah, she'll still. I mean, it's just unfortunately like she's gonna be even squishier. She'll just be enabling like the flankers even harder now. In a way, there's like less room to make mistake.
very based in self-awareness of the first sentence there. Does anybody remember how much damage Tracer Pulse Pistols do? If people don't remember, it was bugged forever that it would do 0.5 damage more. And it was like, well, actually, no, it was 5. It was supposed to be 5, but it was 5.5. But no, we're going to put it up to 6. And then, we're going to do the fall off and spread. And then we're going to, dude, it was so stupid, man.
So now
there
it's
was a point where
6.
Tracer was like very OP though, because of that bug. But yeah, maybe the offset bug where it fell off from, yeah. Wow, Tracer's going to be good. Like, that 0.5 damage is very noticeable. Like, obviously her rate of fire is like insane. So yeah, she's going to be shredding again. There's going to be a lot more Tracers in ranked for sure.
In combination with this though, Jaws, one thing we can't have is supports being strong. And therefore, Brigitte is becoming a must pick. They're going to revert the damage on whip shot to try to bring Brig back in line because Brig is too strong. And they're also going to reduce the damage potential of Baptiste by lowering his primary fire ammo from 45 to 36. Supports are like out of control.
Okay. I'm just, dude, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like,
Jaws is losing it,
dude. To be fair, the damage players have been complaining for a long time that support does both those things. Not my fault. Didn't design the heroes. I just play them. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, the BAP one, I can understand.
The BAP one makes sense, but Brig overperforming. Brig's pretty good, but like a lot of people now are just playing Lucio Sig. Oh, sorry, Lucio with Sig to be fair, but Lucio BAP. Like that is the strong heroes right now. The damage potential to Baptiste, which is fair enough. Like you don't want him like out damaging DPS, which he can do and he does often if you're like Crimzo or something, on the rank ladder. But you're reloading a lot as BAP, I will say. I'm not sure how much this will hurt him because. Like 45 was a lot, to be fair. You need to reload often. You were reloading more for like your heal than for your actual like shots. So I feel like this isn't as bad as I think it is, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I mean, supports are pretty strong right now. They do a lot of damage, but it's also enabled by Sigma being very strong.
This BAP nerf is not that bad. I think the Brig nerf is more, and we don't even know how much by yet. They didn't say how much damage, but any amount of damage is gonna make.
I mean, I think they're just trying to push Brig out of the fucking game completely, which again, I'm completely fine with, as long as there's some other big change halfway through the season. No, but we're in a live service game, motherfucker. There has to be a fresh, brand new patch, and like it has to change.
That's great, but like I don't think Brig was a problem.
I don't think Brig's a problem at all, but I think
the data says otherwise.
I mean, yeah,
it does. The data says otherwise.
The data. We love the data here on this podcast. We love the analytics. We're analytics people. That's it. That's it for the blog post. Yeah, so an interesting one going into
Wholly unkillable tank players.
The tank meta is going to be very interesting the way it shapes up with the changes.
Ramdoom for sure,
and even Winston. I mean, like I'm just like that's some very interesting changes to tanks.
Are they holding back Mauga again? Some time right after release, or is he's not immediately in comp, right? They don't do that, right?
Probably not.
No, it's like a week or something, 2 weeks or some shit like that. Yeah, I still don't think Mauga's going to be that good because again, I couldn't.
He's got some answers to Roadhog, so
yeah, so true. Yeah, so
have you forgotten that? He's got some answers to Roadhog,
dude. I will say, playing against a lot more Roadhogs now. The way a lot of them use like Pigpen in like combo with like the hook and shit, yeah, it's kind of annoying. Like that shit is fucking ass to play against sometimes because you're hooked in, you're like, yeah, I'm dead, 100%.
Well, I mean, it's just old Roadhog with extra steps. It's just before when you got hooked in, you're like, yeah, I'm dead, and now you're back to being like, now I'm dead.
You can like with the new like ammo change and like he doesn't have a right click anymore, which by the way I played him the other day just in a quick play game. I was hitting right click to try and hit people. I kept fucking tapping my heel and taking a breather. It was so annoying. I was just so used to hitting right click. Yeah, I got baited by it. But playing against a lot of Roadhogs now, it's like, damn, it definitely feels like you can one shot a lot more even without Pigpen. You can one shot more consistently, it feels like, with like how his projectiles work now. There's like a mid cluster and then obviously the outwards clusters. The fucking melee and the fucking hook shot melee kind of thing. It's like it feels way more consistent than it did. But then Pigpen now, which I find still really hard to spot. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way. That shit is still really hard for me to spot on the ground. Sometimes I get fucking randomly trapped by it. It's like, fuck, man. It's so annoying, but Yeah, I don't think
do
it's
like
too
he
OP.
has this. I do like that he has set up now. Like before, you just get hooked and you die. Now at least
No,
there has to be set
wait.
up beforehand. There's more. There's more. You know.
That is the opposite
steps
that
in
I'm
between.
saying, motherfucker. Like, it feels more consistent to one shot now than it did like prior to Pigpen.
Yeah,
when
but
they
he has
nerfed
to.
his
But he,
damage.
yeah, but he has to do something like set the pig pen up, make the hook into the pen and all that
No, he
kind of
doesn't
stuff.
have to do that.
Or you just walk into the pen and die. Yeah, I guess you could just
No,
walk
you
in
just
and die.
pretend Pigpen doesn't exist. Hooking, shooting melee is more consistent now, is what I'm saying, because the way the gun works now. At least that's what I felt. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Any hog one tricks in chat, I'm sure it can correct me, but it felt, from my perspective, it was more.
Well, I don't.
But
in
yes,
that
there
case,
is
I don't
setup
like
with
that.
the Pigpen.
I don't-
That's like a guaranteed fucking kill. You drag someone through fucking Pigpen, they're fucking dead. GG. Anyway, Roadhog. He's not that good in comp. He's okay. But I think Mauga's gonna be the same
Also,
fucking thing,
I
where
still
he's
want
gonna
to
get
say, by
slept
the
with
way,
and shit.
that while they're I also forgot about this, but while they're nerfing Baptiste, I mean, like, I think Baptiste now, so he's got his primary fire nerfed, his lamps on an 18-second cooldown, but then Kiriko still has like a
with
15-second Suzu cooldown, I think. So, like,
yeah, they don't want to touch that character, buddy.
they can't touch the marketing character right now, so that's fair enough. Like, okay, I'll give you that. Like, you win for now.
New skin just came out for us, so you know.
True, gotta keep her strong. Gotta keep her strong. Fair enough.
Yeah.
What's next, Johnny?
What's next? Well, with season 8, there are a couple of things that's also coming. One of these things is, we've had ongoing conversations about Mythic skins coming in battle passes. They revealed the Orisa Mythic skin the other day.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's a bit controversial, dare I say. Or I don't know if controversial is the right word. But there are some mixed opinions on the Orisa skin that is coming in Season 8. I don't know if they're going to integrate the thing yet where, like, you can buy different Mythic skin if you haven't caught up. Like, if you don't have, like, a Season 3 Mythic skin, maybe you can buy something else. I don't know if they're implementing that for Season 8. But the Season 8 Orisa is here. The Grand Beast Orisa.
That's what I call myself, the Grand
Yeah.
Beast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of different color settings. New ability sound effects, with the javelin. The ultimate animation is different, I believe, too. Yeah, new ultimate look.
I actually think that is a very fun, underutilized thing in cosmetics, is like the sound aspects.
Yeah.
Like, because you can interact with the sound aspects of your character and hero a lot. It's like, with the different gun sounds in Valorant, like you can get the different songs and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's something I think that's been kind of semi-underused in Overwatch. So I'm kind of interested to see as that evolves.
It's only Mythic skins right now. I believe the first one was the epic Tracer comic book skin. When you meleeed, it made like a bang noise.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm glad to see them continue to keep that trend up of like we're experimenting with the audio
really
and like
cool.
hopefully do more.
They have been doing that a lot for like Reinhardt skins, like the Train Reinhardt skin.
No, yeah,
or,
exactly.
Like,
That's why I'm really excited
Rubber
to see them
Ducky
keep
Zen
it up
as well.
Just keep, because I feel like there's even more they could do.
It's quacks. Yeah, they're definitely straying more into that territory where they edit the sound effects, which is really cool. And they're very subtle too. The Rubber Ducky Zen one's really cool because it's just like small little quacks when you shoot. I don't know about the Rubber Ducky Orisa one. I have no idea. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else saw the controversy, but basically the base version of this one, it looks like, oh my god,
an existing legendary.
Mega something.
But is this one the Null Sector ones are they talking about? Or
No. It's one of the original skins.
It was one of the original legendary skins that is also kind of like a stag beetle. And it's like a desert stag beetle kind of thing.
I'm trying to remember. I don't even can remember that skin.
Yeah, it looks fairly similar because it's like a bug. It's definitely like an upgraded version of that. I think on the tier list of like Mythic skins, this is probably the bottom for me. In terms of Mythics, but something always has to be on the bottom, I guess. But I think people are a little bit annoyed that it's not as unique as like the Hanzo or the Genji or the Kiri one, like where it's very different compared to like every other skin.
Have they announced whether you can change the shapes of like, because usually Mythic skins you can change the weapons and you can change different features of the skin, like Kiri's Mythic, you wear like different hats and all that kind of stuff. Have they shown any of that for the skin, or is it only the one design? Like you have to use one design. Yeah, but that's a guarantee. We know there's different colors, but can you change the design of the skin? Because on the other Mythics you can change the design.
It says something about the weapon. Yeah.
Weapon options, but I don't know how many weapon options.
Because you should be able to change the head. I think that's the one thing that I don't know if they've announced it or, but if you can't change the head, that's really bad. Because one of the ways you get around like, it looks too much like the old skin, is you have different shapes for the head. Like I'm not a beetle guy. I don't know insects. But like
I'm not a beetle guy.
but like just different heads, different like insect heads.
You know nothing about ants.
I'm not an ant. No, I'm not an insect guy. Sadly,
You know nothing about it.
That legendary comment. I believe, like, going on the wording and judging by the little animations here, it looks like there's only weapon, like,
that's not enough.
customization.
It's really not enough.
And
It sucks as well because they really went. It felt like they went kind of in with the customization. You know, changing the weapon sounds, the animations, the color options, the weapon options, right? But I don't think
Devil's Advocate,
this
though,
is
Johnny,
not one of my favorites.
That is what they've been doing over the last, since Overwatch 2 released, is that they've done all these different sound effects and stuff. That's a standard now. It's what people expect.
True. It's a standard.
I'm a
I am
tank player, and I'm not even
by-
that excited about it.
I got a question.
I'm unimpressed by it for sure. I'm unimpressed by it. But I will say, though, even though I'm unimpressed by the skin, I think the comparison of like this looks exactly like a skin from like 6 years ago. Is, I mean, that's just like bananas. Like this, they're not even like, because even if it's true, well, it's not even the point. Like the skin is 6 years old and they've changed it. Like, bro, the people that were playing the game have like the player base is almost entirely is like very different now. Like probably like I obviously I don't know the numbers, but like from a gut reaction, I would say like 50 to 60% of the people that were probably playing in 2016-ish are not playing now in 2023, 24, but they've targeted a whole new group of people, you know? They have like a huge new cohort of people that have been targeted and bringing in and playing the game since it's gone on like free to play and, you know, moving into this Xbox Game Pass and stuff like that. You know, like there's so many new players that like literally don't even know that skin fucking exists, essentially.
Well, I got something to add on to that. My question is, would it be that controversial and that bad if the old skin didn't exist? If we never had the original bug skin, would it really be that bad?
It would just be a mess skin. It would just be a mess skin, you know? It's a mess skin now, but it would still be a mess skin.
I think the only thing that's meh about it is that you can only change the weapon and that's it, and the colors obviously. Whereas like if you remember the like I still think Sigma's Mythic is one of the best ones simply because of the variation of customizations you can have, right? And so they've kind of gone backwards in that regard, and there's less customization now compared to that.
As like a counterpoint, devil's advocate to that, though, the amount of work and time it takes to make skins in general for Overwatch, we know is a long time, and they're having to pump these out every single season.
But it's like 2 more heads. Just like give her 2 more heads.
I know.
That would have been cool. A Cerebus one would have been so cool.
Yeah, that would have been pretty sweet. But like, maybe
I didn't mean like that, but sure.
There will be dips in like, oh, hey, this one isn't as good as like, oh, the next one. Obviously, they're not going to outright say that, but like, obviously, we can kind of see this is definitely last on my list in terms of like coolness for these skins. But as long as there's again another fucking sick one with a crazy amount of customizations, maybe next season or the the season after or whatever. But yeah, that maintaining a high standard is going to be hard every single goddamn season when they do run for only what is it? How many days is it? 90 days? 3 months, right? 90 days, yeah.
They set the standard in season 1. Cyber Demon Genji is the standard.
Yeah, of course.
And so that's kind of what you have to stick to once you set the standard, is just what I'm saying.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it's tough, obviously, for them, but it is a short turnaround, historically, for Blizzard to do that. So, yeah, just as a devil's advocate point, doesn't take away from, I still think the skin is a little meh. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what the other cosmetics are as well. I'm not sure what they are in the Battle Pass. But
There's there's some key art. There's some Season 8 key art that was posted on Reddit. Someone is like in a metro train station or something. We can bring that up.
Sorry, that was me.
that picture up, because the theme of the pass is like wild. So like wild, just nature,
like
jungle.
Kind
yeah.
of, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if you have it, Solomon, but it's in the document anyway. And so you can see like Jungle Queen. Jungle Queen has some like wild.
Anna's top right.
Skin.
Is that Anna?
Anna's, yeah, it looks like Anna top right. A bit of a torn cloak. There's Widowmaker there as well. So it looks like a cool theme. I'm excited to see, and obviously there's the Mauga skin as well, which is like,
yeah, of course.
It looks like some Warlords of Draenor shit right there.
It actually does. You're actually so right.
So
Warlords
true.
of Draenor-esque.
Yeah.
So true.
I don't know shit about WoW, so I have nothing to add to this.
Thanks, Scott.
Well,
I mean, Connor.
No, it was,
Okay.
it was a decent expansion.
Sorry.
Not the best, it was a decent expansion.
Dude, I did that in DayZ the other day. I literally just rifled like 4 names and then I called him Scott. I said, oh, Josh, Bren, no, I said Josh, Bren, Connor, Scott. Like, fuck me.
This guy, we need to get his brain mapped. I want to put him in an MRI, and I want to map or a CT and map his brain. I want to see what's going on with those neurons. I want to see how they're firing.
You can live with my brain, buddy. You can live with it. You can live with what's going on.
You can't handle this brain.
You can't handle this one.
All right, we're gonna rattle off some of these esports items as well before we wrap up the show as well. Yeah, the pixelation is crazy.
The pixelation on the cams are crazy.
Yeah.
Look like a
yeah.
PS2
What happened to the undersea cable? Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Bring back Baby Yoda. Where do you want to start? AVRL, you got some news about Korean flash ops.
Yeah, so there's going to be actual streams this weekend. Shout out to Unknown for providing the replay streams so far, but the official streams will start this weekend, December 2nd on the Saturday, which might be a Friday for NA guys, NAU guys. It's like, I don't know the exact times. I guess I could just look it up. 7 p.m. EDT to PT. So it would be like midnight PT start times for people on West Coast, and everyone else can figure out their time zones based on that. So kind of late night for NA people.
I mean, that's very late night.
KR Flash Ops official broadcast begin this weekend, and I've also announcement on my end is I've been given the go ahead to do official co-streams as well, meaning I can show gameplay footage on my stream. So twitch.tv/AVRL this weekend for the conclusion of the career qualifiers of Flash Ops this week. We should look at the bracket as well, by the way, just to get a bit of a heads up. And also I want to get Jules' live reaction to something on that bracket specifically.
Bro, I saw there were some insane upsets.
Yeah, the Smurfs got fucking rolled. What?
But
the
Runaway,
hell
baby.
is this?
Runaway.
Runaway.
People doubted. They doubted.
Fuck, man. The Smurfs they won 2 maps. 2 maps. What the fuck happened there?
Apparently Violet fed. Someone who watched the whole thing from Unknown stream did a summary, and the part of the summary for Smurfs was that Violet fed.
No.
Violet fed.
That team
Violet feeding is how they lost.
goated.
Yeah, I actually am shocked how bad the Smurfs
He got the money.
I mean, he must have gotten the money. I told you people were sleeping on Runaway. They were sleeping on the Runaway reunion. Yeah. And look where we're at. Look where we're at now, huh?
Okay, you got to pipe down a little bit. They beat Simprisa, who they're supposed to beat, lose to O2, and now they're in the low bracket versus Pokerface.
Well,
so,
made it further than the Smurfs.
Look at the Pokerface roster, by the way. This is Choice One Decay's team. So Choice One Decay, is it not? Oh, sorry, my bad. It's 815. Anyway, 815 is the Choice One Decay team, but Pokerface is the bunch of ex-Toronto players plus Bellisria and some ex-Boston players as well. Yeah, it could be interesting. This 815 team was apparently pretty decent. Develop on the flex support. I don't think MCD's played that much, so people slept on 815 a lot because 815 also beat the Smurfs. So Decay beats a bunch of his Boston teammates on that team on that matchup as well.
I think it's just fucking insane that Ons is back and he's further in the qualifier than Prophet of Birdring. That shit is just
he's back, baby.
I think Isahana losing because Merid and someone is still in Saudi right now, because we'll take a look at the E-League bracket next. Maybe you'll see that they're still in, but yeah, Merid and someone are not playing this, so I think 815 is probably taking it based on that alone.
I do want to shout out as well the upper bracket final between O2 High School and Hamster, where we get the proper versus Max Johnbin. He sang.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Revenge matchup.
Wait, that's actually crazy.
So after a disappointing San Francisco Shock season,
he wants to beat them into the dirt.
O2 High School's opportunity to take proper down. That was also some drama, from the Uncoachable podcast. There was a mention of San Francisco Shock there. So there's some storylines. There's some storylines going on here. It's interesting.
There's a huge amount of pressure on Hamster because this team, I think you said it last week, Johnny. If Hamster don't win, a bunch of these players, They're just got to be known as chokers at this point because
Well, I mean,
it's World Cup, it's Atlanta, do you know what I mean? It's like over
the
and
thing
over
is,
and over.
I haven't watched these qualifiers. They all play dive, right? there's no round team or no. I haven't watched the qualifiers.
I
so
mean, there
wouldn't know,
hasn't been qualifiers to really watch. There hasn't been streams. So
Yeah.
there's nothing to really. I don't know shit about.
They
what's
won't
going on
run
in
into
meta.
the ego duel barrier.
Isohan is the Sigma team because they only have Kalios. So that's one Sigma team. And depending, like Runaway is a dive team 100% because they have Mag and he doesn't play Sigma.
And there's no
So
Hanjo Spark in the bracket, so obviously.
Yeah, so it really depends who you're up against. I think Max on O2 will play the Sigma in that matchup. So, well, Harbin's on this team as well. So, I mean, they might do it. Harbin might just... But Harbin's Sigma looked bad in World Cup, so I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, watch the AVRL stream. There we go.
Yep. All the
There you go.
Korean streamers.
Do we
would
know
prefer
when
that,
we're gonna
but,
get any information
tune
about
in.
an A stream or anything there? Anyone know? Any knowers? At all?
You should
any,
be the
any
knower,
knowledge
Connor.
havers?
I thought you'd be the knower of that one.
Yeah. You think I would
I'm
be
gonna
the
be
knower?
honest. I would come to you for info at this point. I have no idea.
I mean, like, it's just because, like, when I was watching the qualifiers, I was just ripping
15th.
players' streams. Yeah, but is that gonna be an official broadcast? Is what I'm wondering. I don't know. Like, I'm not in the know with the official broadcast.
I think they're waiting for Lemon Key and Dogman to be finished with the E-League, and then they'll do this one.
Yeah, because I've been I just like stole Seeker and RuPaul's streams, and then I went and like Harry and Dor were in the lobbies with people. Then I was stealing their stream. So like, you know, it just depends. Like, so I would like to know that soon. Well, but that's good. All right, Korea. AVRL's got the Korea hookup. There we go.
Yeah. Good for you, AVRL. Good for you. Do you quickly want to talk about Saudi League or get the World Cup final prize pool? You know?
Well, E-League just played like during this podcast, and a result happened during the podcast. Twisted Minds and GK played while at the start of our podcast. Twisted Minds did win. I think based on what Unto was saying on our coachables, this was probably going to be the final. Like he expects Twisted Minds and GK to be the top two teams here. F16, for those that are wondering, is the Someone Merit team. That's why I'm saying like Isohan's in trouble. Because Someone and Merit are still in E-League and they're not going to be done in time at all. F16 might beat GK as well. GK is the team with Checkmate, and then F16 is Merit Someone, so it'd be a little bit of Mayhem versus Mayhem situation.
Hey. There we go. That's a good matchup.
It's interesting. I mean, you know, Saudi E-League. I don't know my personal opinion. Here's my personal opinion on the Saudi E-League. Regardless of everything else, I literally don't know 2/3 of those fucking players. So like, I know the guys from Twisted Minds because they have been playing, and I know a lot of the import players. But like all the other Saudi Arabian players, I'm literally just the Patrick Star. Who are you people?
This dude on GK called Teenage, I think it might be this Rojo guy. Teenage is apparently really insane. Like everyone who knows Saudi E-League is saying that this guy's like the next Quartz and maybe even better than Quartz. So he's probably someone to watch out
That's
for.
fucking crazy because Quartz is
good.
Legitimately insane. Quartz was like gapping a lot of top tier DPS players. So
yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Cool.
I mean,
there you go.
Yeah. Look at the trajectory of next year anyway, so I'll have to start learning them. So
yeah,
better start. Time to start learning Saudi E-League, buddy.
Time to start learning Arabic, buddy.
They announced that the World Cup prize pool was over 500 grand. I think it was 515, something like that.
They did, yeah. Finally.
So they crossed. We got the was it weapon charms? We crossed one milestone. We crossed one milestone. 513,000.
What was the other milestone? Was there another one?
I think it was like 750k or something. I don't know.
What did you get for 750k?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Dude, it was like over a month ago, or like yeah.
Well, that's good though. We 13 grand over.
Got 2 milestones out of it, you know,
and
what was the other milestone?
That's pretty sick, actually.
I mean, that's an extremely good prize pool for World Cup. Over $500,000 for World Cup is an insanely good prize pool. That's like. Especially because like, so something that I don't know, like the committee members themselves too are incentivized because like the committee members of the World Cup teams get a split of the prize pool, not just the players, which is crazy.
Yeah, I was
so like,
try to look up
which is
how much
actually
they
a pretty
get,
interesting system because essentially it's like they're incentivizing you. It's like, okay, big prize pool. If you put in effort into your team and everything goes well, like, you know, you're getting a chunk of your success, you know, type of thing. I will say it's like definitely kind of like inelastic because like there's so many restrictions on selling sponsorships and stuff that like, even if you like go really hard in the paint and like market your team really well, like Blizzard essentially can take all the sponsorships, like the big ones, or like reject all the big ones where like,
yeah,
it's almost better to like just do the bare minimum amount of work anyways, because you're gonna get the same cut of the prize pool regardless, because you can't really sell sponsors very well.
It
while
is
you're working for a team.
When you think about it, it is absolutely fucking insane how many players got paid for this World Cup prize pool.
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
even if you didn't even qualify for BlizzCon, if you just participated in like the qualifier for your region, you got 1% of the prize pool, which is $5,000. So if you're Indonesia, if you're Philippines, if you're Sweden, Norway, like Puerto Rico, you get to split $5,000 between you, which, you know, probably ends up being like $750 per person. That's crazy. And the amount of amateur players who's never gotten an esports paycheck just got like $750 for competing in a qualifier. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's sick. So
that's like Fortnite level prize pools. Like back in the day when Fortnite, it's like you just showed up to a tournament, and even if you got like your ass kicked, it's like, okay, here's $1,000.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Love to see
Double
it.
you.
Yeah. Wish we had that information real time. Would have been cool to see it increase.
Yeah, I mean, I get like there's been a lot of discussion about that in ourselves. We all agree that the tracker is cool, but like, you know, I guess this is an oversight for myself. I hadn't thought about the fact that like, I guess just because I'm not that doomer, but people were like, well, you know, if you have a tracker, then it shows like if it flops, then it like looks really bad. And I'm like, I guess that's true, but I mean, I feel like you have to be like insanely doomer. But then I remember we're in Overwatch and like people just assume the worst thing always, all the time.
Yeah.
So like, because like I feel like you had to be kind of naive to think this is going to be a mega flop, because like it's World Cup, it's gonna and it's a popular game. Like of course it was gonna attract a decent amount of like support, you know, like. But I forget that people are just like mega doomer about that shit.
Yeah, and I think people just wanted some more marketing. Like they wanted people to be more aware, like a more real time way to track. You know, like,
but I don't know if that's the reason. Like maybe that is the reason they didn't do it, is because. But that's not my opinion. My opinion is I think they were just understaffed and didn't have the tools and resources necessary to build that. Personally,
what was the original price for? Like how much did we actually sell of the bundles? Do we know?
I couldn't tell
you.
How many? Wait, how many of the bundles did you say?
Yeah. Like what out of the 500K? How much is that as pure sales, and how much of that is the original prize pool? I'm trying to figure out like
the
how
prize pool. Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm trying to figure out how many bundles we sold.
Wait, what? Why does it say on Wikipedia that the prize pool is 374,000? Doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of like, there wasn't a lot of clear communication, because when they first announced World Cup, I don't think they announced like, here's the prize pool.
Yeah, because then the $5,000 isn't accurate if it's wrong on Wikipedia. So then it's more than that.
There's definitely information missing about like how it was distributed, because like because also when they announced World Cup, the prize pool was never like the big keynote thing was like, we're crowdfunding the prize pool this year. It was not, here's the prize pool plus we're crowdfunding like additionally. Like I didn't really ever see that information, so I really don't know.
Yeah. Oh well.
But if the sales are good, it's like, dude, a barely marketed bundle. I mean, I don't know if you could say it was, the crowdfunding was poorly marketed. I feel like that wasn't extremely well marketed, and if it still sold well for something that wasn't very well marketed, I think it goes to show that you know, the cosmetics are definitely selling.
Yeah, it's good for the future too, because they know they can do this kind of thing. So, you know, more money and more like hands-on of World Cup events and other things like this. I like it.
Yeah. All right, guys. We got to wrap up the episode. It's a pleasure doing the off-season with y'all. Who do we got for Bren's Player of the Week?
Jessica
and Jackson. DayZ RP.
What is this? I missed this.
You have not been here. The psychological warfare that Hypok and Pansy plagued me, Bren, Josh, and Custa with for 2 days, 2 play sessions straight. Oh my god, you have no idea.
I mean, I was home. I will say, well, actually, you know what? I joined too late. I had a bunch of good stories from vacation, but you know what? We'll save them for next week.
Yeah, do it next week.
I don't have a player of the week.
My Brent's play of the week is Gator for providing us with the hot topic of the week, for having an incendiary.
Yeah, Gator
take.
does good work there. I mean, I got to give some credits as well to the competing podcast in general from Commander X with the uncoachable. You know,
Yeah.
They're mostly covering Overwatch League specific topics. They're not as general, but like they did a good job. I mean, they even clickbaited amazingly. Their last, they even did an amazing clickbait. Like I think that was one of the best clickbait jobs I've seen from a podcast in a while. So you know what?
Yeah.
Mad respect.
They have the juice to leak because they have all the insider team juice that, like, you know, people that aren't in the teams are not going to know.
Yeah, I said at the start of the show, they're in a position that we are not in, and they have great perspective and a great experience, and they provide something unique, additive to the community. So hell yeah, love to see it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your next clickbait though, because I feel like it's gonna be hard to top the Koreans Killed Overwatch League one from them, but I think they could do it.
Yeah,
I think they can do it. And this is not even me digging at them. I'm like, I wish we were good at clickbaiting. Like
this today? Oh, it's this today. Oh,
there's a new episode.
So there you go. Well,
because I wanted to punch.
Oh wow, there you go.
I'm gonna make I'm making two predictions. That is either High Dollar or D-Pay. But I don't know, but we'll see. It's gonna be one of the two. That's my prediction.
Can I say Christopher?
If you
I don't know.
You can say Christopher, yeah.
If you try and punch DP, you're gonna get shoulder checked, so I wouldn't go there.
That is true.
I don't know.
Gonna hit the iron shoulder.
Yeah. Before we go, Avast, speaking of coaches, I was browsing today's birthdays on Wikipedia. Today is the birthday of Mr. Bleeple.
First of all, Mr. Bleeple his ass was not a coach. Mr. Bleeple was like the analyst, but really he just put together some spreadsheets for like Huck and shaking them. Like bro was not coaching shit.
All right, I just figured
bro
out.
Was not coaching shit.
There you go. Plat Chat Overwatch episode. I think it's 204. Episode 204. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. We'll see you next week. What?
Hopper's birthday?
Yeah, it's Hopper's birthday too. Love you, Hopper. Goodbye.